This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Are you ready for the playoffs? I hope so. You better be tomorrow at 5 p.m. when Canada Life Centre explodes to welcome the President's Trophy winning Winnipeg Jets as they take on the St. Louis Blues. Welcome to a special Good Friday edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. No days off for the crew during the playoffs, and we've actually got a packed weekend coming up on WST today as well. Never mind, after the show, some bonus content from Connor and Liz, which we'll do a bit of a self-raid. But we have lots to get to today. That's why it was incumbent on us to step up and do a show despite it being normally a holiday. Hopefully, got a few people that are normally busy working during the day that are joining us. Great turnout already. Welcome to everybody in chat. And shout out to everybody that'll be getting after this on the podcast at some point before we drop the puck tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow is the big day. Been waiting for it all season long. The Jets' revenge tour begins against the St. Louis Blues. We're going to talk to JP Vigier about it. And Ken Wiebe will also join us a little later on to talk about the upcoming series and certainly gets Ken's thoughts on a wrap of a franchise record-breaking season for the Winnipeg Jets. Hacksaw will also pop on, get his thoughts on the Stanley Cup Playoffs. I know he was talking about it yesterday on his show. Lots of love for the Jets down in Hacksawville with all of the WSTers popping over on occasional raids. So that'll be fun. And then not one, but two marble races today. It is Friday, so we will do our regular marble race that everyone is invited to join in with exclamation mark marbles when we call for the prompt a little later on, closer to 3 p.m. But before then, we will be doing our second marble race with the qualifiers drawn from the Instagram post and the X post for the playoffs in the PEG contest with Winnipeg Sports Talk and our friends at Coolbet. Congratulations to Christian Godfredson, who was the winner yesterday in an absolute thriller. And we'll be going back to that track again today with 20 more names that will be drawn from everybody that's entered. And the winner of today's race will be enjoying playoffs in the PEG and getting a chance to sit in the White House for Game 2 on Monday at 6:30. So, Christian, I hope you have a great time at the game on Saturday, and good luck to everyone to, first of all, get in the race and hopefully be the first marble into the hopper to win the tickets for Monday. And huge thanks again to Pat and Jake and the Coolbet guys for making this contest possible. We should also mention, if you did not catch this already and you want to be part of the insanity downtown, we do have whiteout street party tickets. We've given some away already, but if you haven't already, get over to winnipegsportstalk.com/contest. Make sure you're entered there as well. And we'll be hopefully making some fans that wanted to be a part of it that weren't able to get their hands on tickets, very happy Jet fans, to throw on the white. Yes, I am in the white today. I just have to shout out the fellows over at Royal. I told you that this collab from the Jets, from Royal and New Era, with the white hats were coming out. If you're with us on YouTube, you can see this beauty with, what is it, this side? We got the Campbell Conference patch on it. And the white hoodie is ready for tomorrow. They've got so much stuff down there. But it was busy when I was there yesterday, right after the show. And I dropped this tweet when I got out afterwards. And we've never had more engagement with a merch tweet And I think it speaks to just the excitement of Jet fans about tomorrow, and also the return of the whiteout, but also how sick this stuff is. So if you're looking for a very unique white hat, they are limited edition. They just came in yesterday. So get on down to Royal today or before the game tomorrow while supplies last. And I did cop that hoodie there as well. They've got player name and number white shirts, a couple of different versions of the hoodies, 50% off actually the playoff hoodies from last year if you're looking for a good deal. So Royals got you covered. Shout out to Greg and Gerald and the team there. They're ready for a long playoff run, but when this stuff's gone, it's going to be gone. So get it before you are done. What else do we have to mention just before we get in? We've done the contests. We've done, I think we're ready to roll. Ken, Hacksaw, JP Vigier coming up. And as I mentioned, 2 marble races to send one person to game 2 of the playoffs, and the big marble race again, where we'll be doing for a WST hoodie as we do on Fridays. Huge thanks to the sponsors that make the show happen each and every day. Shout out to the Royal guys. Of course, Let's Do It Travel. I'll mention this later on, but Sean's got some interesting stuff up on the Instagram page right now for any of you that are maybe thinking of heading to St. Louis for games 3 and 4. There are a bunch of baseball games. The Cardinals are at home. So maybe a Friday and Saturday, a couple off days in St. Louis. I'll be honest, I'm thinking about it too. Let's Do It Travel, WPG on Instagram. You can check his post and everything that he's got there. Princess Auto, Whiteout Mania signs. If you haven't got theirs, make sure you head by Princess Auto, grab that. St. Vital Dental Center, Canadian Club, Manitoba Battery, Aikens Lake, F Apparel, Prairie Toyota Dealers, Boston Pizza, Little Brown Jug, Breezy Bend, fansfirst.ca. Of course, Coolbet, and we'll get to a why not question of the day for Not Autocorp over at Waverly and McGillivray, and enjoy a little brown jug at the end of the show as well. There'll be a few of those going down tomorrow. All right, great to see everybody joining us on Good Friday before what will be a great Saturday in downtown Winnipeg. Let's get Michael Remis in here and get this show on the road. Remo, what's up? One more sleep before we drop the puck on the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and I can't think of a better environment for the National Hockey League to showcase for Game 1 of the playoffs than our house, Canada Life Center, tomorrow for the Blues and the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, Huss, first of all, man, are you looking good in that white hat?
Thank you.
You should be thanking me. Someone messaged us on Facebook and said, Huss, where did you get that outfit? And I said, Royal Sports. And he said, I'm going to buy you a beer next time I see you. So I got you a free beer from that. So yeah, looking great. And yeah, I'm fired up. I don't have a Stanley Cup hat, so I wear my Grey Cup hat today. Close enough, right? And we're excited. We've been waiting all year. Can the Winnipeg Jets, exercise the demons from last season where, I thought last year they had such, similar regular season, so great, but in the playoffs, just overwhelmed by Colorado. What are we going to see from them this season? Are we going to see them stick to their style of play that led them to the President's Trophy? I think we'll likely see that, but we'll never know until they hit the ice, and it is going to be pandemonium outside Canada Life Center with the street party in the arena, everyone dressed in white, waving the towels. I'm super excited to be in the building and get to witness it, get to feel the whiteout. They have all the Jumbotron, all the video assets as well. It looks like a blizzard in there. Very exciting time, and we'll be able to answer a lot of questions we had about the Winnipeg Jets coming into this regular season.
I can't wait. In the past, especially the last 2 years, going up against really, really elite teams, Colorado, and the year before, the Jets were in St. Louis's position, going up against Vegas, although having a bit of momentum going in. We know how that ended. But this year, and again, everyone's going to have their own feelings on this. I can't wait. I'm just filled with excitement. There's not a lot of the stress and the dread because, listen, through 82 games, this team proved that they were up for the challenge, and I think they're ready to go tomorrow. Obviously, it's unfortunate that Nikolai Ehlers won't be a part of the lineup, and Gabriel Velarde still working to come back. But we've seen the depth of this team help them win games all season long. So I think not only is the team going to be ready, but I know damn well that the fans are going to be ready. And I'm looking forward to seeing so many of you downtown tomorrow and in the building for the game. And of course, Liz is going to be out at the street party doing a bunch of content. We'll be down early tomorrow. Keep an eye on our social media channels. What we might do is maybe a couple fun contests or giveaways. If you can find us, maybe we'll pop down to the Howard Chuck statue for a little bit before the game. And we'll be talking to fans. We'll be putting out content and just basking in the excitement of this season and what is to come with the Stanley Cup playoffs. By the way, hey, shout out to Sean at Let's Do It Travel, looking good in White Huss with a few fire emojis. Great to see you, pal, and great to have you on board. Yeah, at Let's Do It Travel WPG. Check that out. Give them a follow over there, folks, and get ready to maybe make a little impromptu trip down to St. Louis. Sean's done some great work on where to stay and to make it happen, and got a great deal for WST listeners where all your booking fees will be waived. But I'll tell you about that later on when we get to it. Reem, it was an interesting day yesterday after we finished the show because not only did we hear about Scott Arniel heading into the series, but we also heard from Connor Hellebuyck. We'll be playing that in a few minutes. Listen, you want to talk about confidence in a team, confidence in a player. I have full confidence in Connor Hellebuyck. And, you know, I've tried, as Murat, I think, did very well yesterday on the program, to dispel this notion that Hellebuyck hasn't been good in the playoffs before. I mean, Murat's breakdown of the goals that went in against Colorado, absolutely accurate. This was not just the goalie wasn't playing well. This was a team that, you know, just they weren't good enough against the Colorado Avalanche, and they talked about all off season about being 5 or 10% better. Well, I've talked to JP Vigier about the differences and how this team has grown, and then the depth of this hockey club, that players like Jared Anderson-Dolan and David Gustafsson, and the move of Morgan Barron to the middle, the addition of Brandon Tanev, the bottom six right now, even with a couple players out of the lineup, very, very capable of making things happen. And then you look up front, Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele. You don't think Cole Perfetti's ready to go and maybe prove some of his critics, and certainly a former head coach that didn't have the confidence maybe to have him play a big role in the playoffs wrong? It is going to be a blast. And as I say, I think the team is ready. They can't wait for it. I know the fans are the exact same way. And Reem, one thing, if people missed yesterday, you know, I think we'll focus a lot on the Jets and what they have to do throughout the series. We'll get more in on the Blues. But if people do want more on kind of like finding out exactly what the Jets are dealing with in the visitors coming in, we had a great conversation with Jamie Rivers this week, who, of course, does Blues TV, former player, follows the team as closely as anyone. And that was a great chat for people to maybe get a little bit more familiar with who's going to be on the other side wearing the road jerseys.
Yes, we've had so much great content this week, Huss. It's really tough to keep up with all of it. I mean, Wednesday's show, Greg Wyshynski with a comprehensive playoff preview. And yesterday's show, bit of a banger with Paul Edmonds leading off, Murat Atesh on the, you know, along with looking ahead to a playoff series. You had two pretty big extensions for the Jets with Alex Iafallo and Neil Pionk. So covered that and the series with Murat, and as you mentioned, Jamie Rivers. So yesterday's show, I mean, front to back, very strong. And I think today, just the same. And stay tuned after the show, as you mentioned, Self-Raid with Connor and Liz of WST Sunday Live, doing a special X Factor edition of the series. Their X Factors for the Jets and the Blues. You know, I was asked by The Score, Huss, I got quoted in an article, quoted an article from Matt Russell. He's a betting analyst for The Score. And he asked me what I thought of the series, what my X Factor was. And I said, for the Jets, they need to just play like they've played all season. And, you know, last year they played very similar. And I just said this earlier in the show, but if they can just stick to their structure and, you know, play the way that got them there, they should have success. I think last year, as you mentioned, you look at Connor Hellebuyck's numbers in the playoffs, and anyone who just looks at the numbers is going to say, Hellebuyck, he stink. The Jets didn't get the goaltending. And if you watch the game, I mean, every chance was an odd man rush. Every
It's
chance
the laziest
was a
take,
tip,
and you
was a
still hear
tip-in.
it now among some people that are paid a lot of money to cover the National Hockey League. But hey, you know what? If they haven't been paying attention to the Jets all season and they've been doubting them, guess what? The Winnipeg Jets have the opportunity to force people to do it by winning in this playoffs and continuing on until there's only 2 teams left to watch. And that obviously is the ultimate goal, but it starts with the St. Louis Blues. As I mentioned, we'll hear from Hellebuyck a little bit, but let's hear from Scott Arniel right off the bat. JP Vigier coming up in a few minutes. The task at hand, winning game 1 at home in the whiteout. Here is the head coach of the Winnipeg Jets, Scott Arniel, on the opposition St. Louis Blues.
We saw them twice since Four Nations. I think it's 3 times since Monty's been coaching there. Sort of see their style of play and maybe the changes that they have made since the coaching change. It was great to run into them since they've been on a tear, since the Four Nations was completed. So lots of familiarity. Their team, a few pieces have changed over the years, but at the end of the day, they're a central opponent that we've seen a lot of, and we know how they go with their business. And like I said, 3 games playing against Monty as a head coach, we kind of got an idea how he wants to go about things.
All right, so there's head coach Scott Arniel. Now, Remo, we did get the first look at the Stanley Cup Playoffs backdrop. It is officially the postseason now. And those personalized hoodies that the team wear throughout the playoffs, the gray ones, I did cop one of those a couple years ago at the, I think I might have worn it yesterday actually on the show, or a couple days ago. Those gray ones, I got it at FanFest on one of the racks. And all the players will have their own number on it. And I see Scott just has SA, which, if you're wondering, that stands for Scott Arniel. His own initials on the hoodie, ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I love, the playoff stuff. It's a playoffs when you got the new backdrop in there, the hoodies. This is this year's edition, Winnipeg Jets and Curved. And I think they had like Eddie from Iron Maiden before with the numbers. And I remember RB, Rick Bonus, but now they got SA, Scott Arniel. And they do auction those off at the end of the year on the True North Shop eBay website. And they always, I remember he talked about bidding on the Michael Amadio puck that he scored over and like lighting it on fire or something. So maybe
destroying it.
Maybe we'll keep an eye out for opportunities there on the True North eBay store.
No doubt. But Arniel did mention, seeing the Blues since they made the coaching change. And listen, Montgomery, started off the season out on the East Coast, got fired by the Bruins, and now he's led the Blues back from seemingly a lost season to a chance, a chip in a chair, as they say. But they got a big task taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Arnie, one of the advantages I think the Winnipeg Jets have this year as opposed to the last couple of years is Scott Arniel's ability to make adjustments in game. I think it's more of his strength. This is not a knock on Rick Bowness, but I think it's more a strength of Scott Arniel. And Arnie was asked about those coaching adjustments that will be coming throughout the series. Here's what he had to say on that.
Yeah, I think that adjustments start to happen as you kind of get into this series. I think that both teams are coming out and trying to get to their game plan, their style of play as fast as possible, which we will try to continue to do. And hopefully that they're the ones that have to adjust to us. But you just don't know how each and every game goes. It might be matchups that you're looking at. It might be D partners that are head to head against certain players. There are adjustments that you can make. Some are subtle, some are bigger, and that's kind of what playoff series are all about. That looking at those things and seeing if it's something that you want to do with your group at that time.
All right, Arnie on the defensive, coaching changes and structural changes and adjustments that may need to be made throughout games and the series. But it's pretty clear, as Remo, you just mentioned, what do the Jets need to do? They need to do what they've done all season long. And what have they done all season? They've been the best defensive team in the National Hockey League. And if you keep the puck out of your net, you're going to have a pretty damn good chance of winning the hockey games. Here's Arniel on the team's defensive structure for the playoffs. We got that one, or? Oh, okay. A little bit of a CPU.
The big thing
issue.
for me is that the games after that, like I mentioned, after Four Nation, are now who's going to get in the playoffs, who's going to be seated in what position. We're still fighting for the Central at that time, and so your attention to detail, your defending, which we had always talked about from last year, the success we had with our defending last year, moving it into this year, that it was going to have to be a priority. But us doing those things was, the team recognizes that's where our success comes from when we are, as a group, playing really well defensively. And the other side of it too that I mentioned, to our group, that it didn't take away from our offense. I think we still ended up in third for goals for, and I know that our power play is number one, but at the end of the day, we didn't take away from our offensive side. We had the puck more, and it created more offense for us. And so that the buy-in that your top players, when they recognize that the puck's in their stick a lot more, that helps sells us playing without the puck like we do.
All right, so Scott Arniel on the defensive structure, and hey, this is, that is, as I've said many times, the foundation for their success. But it's made them a better offensive team too, and it's certainly taken them to the heights that they've done in the regular season. Now it's time to duplicate that in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It is a bit of a weird schedule. I mean, we're used to playoffs kind of starting, and you play one night, the next day is off, you play the next day. This series between Winnipeg and St. Louis has 2-day breaks in between game 2 and 3, 3 and 4, and 4 and 5. And Arniel was asked about the quirk of this series schedule that has 3 extra days off before game 5 is played.
I guess it can buy some time for your injured guys to get back. It also maybe if you do get up in a series, you'd like it to happen a lot quicker. But it is what it is. It's the league. It's the start times are all crazy as well. They'll always be that way. Both buildings are busy, so it is one of those obstacles that it's both teams are facing it. You just got to make the most of it.
All right, now. All eyes will be on Connor Hellebuyck and, of course, Jordan Binnington, a rematch of the goaltending matchup of the Four Nations gold medal game in Boston in February. Here's Arnie on Helly and Binnington and the goaltending matchup in the series.
First with St. Louis, Binnington's been in this league. He's won a Stanley Cup. He's obviously the Four Nations. His spectacular play there. At the end of the day, they've been on a run, and he's been a big part of it, obviously, and he's experienced at this time of year. And on the other side with Helly, that Four Nations was a great opportunity for him to go head to head, not only against Binnington, but against the other goalies from the other nations, and in pressure situations, much like playoff games. And those are all the kind of the learning things for him to, like I mentioned, to KC and JMO, and for those guys to be able to go through those experiences was big. And for Helly, he's again proven how great of a goaltender he is. And now I know it has a little sideline to it. Those two head to head, and it's just like the matchups like we talked about, our top line against their top line, or our checkers against their checkers, or whatever it might be. This is two guys going head to head, and and hoping that our goaltender comes out on top over their goaltender.
All right, Scott Arniel on the goaltending matchup. Just one of many very interesting head-to-head challenges that'll be a huge part of this best-of-7 series with the Jets and the Blues. One more from Arniel, and this is more looking back at the regular season, but our good friend Ken Wiebe of the Winnipeg Free Press, who will join us later on, asked Scott Arniel if he feels that Connor Hellebuyck has had a Hart Trophy-worthy season.
Staying with Hellebuyck, Scott, ballots are due tomorrow. Did you think it was a Hart-worthy season for him?
Without a doubt. He certainly should be in that conversation for the numbers that he's thrown up this year, the different things that he's done to put himself in the not only the Winnipeg Jets record book, but some league ones too. And, back-to-back Jennings, back-to-back, we'll see, back-to-back Vezina. But at the end of the day, if you the meaning of MVP or that trophy, he's an awful lot. He checks an awful lot of those boxes for us.
Book it, Helly for Hart. Helly for Hart. Spread the word. Yes, today 5 p.m. I guess we've got about another 3.5 hours as we are live on WST today. I don't know if I'm going to have to make a final pitch to Ken for his vote for Connor Hellebuyck. I don't think I will, but I'm looking forward to talking to Ken a little later on in the second hour of the program. We're going to check in with JP Vigier, and we were just talking about Hellebuyck. We'll hear from Helly as well before Ken comes on with us in and around 2 p.m. Just before we bring in JP, a big thanks to Rolly's Transfer for their support of WST. Family owned and operated for over 60 years and the most trusted name in moving in Winnipeg. Now into their 7th decade. Head on over to Rollies.com and click on Request an Estimate and make sure you use the promo code WST for a special discount on moving services and supplies. And then simply let them know when you're planning on moving, where you're going to, and what needs to be moved. And the friendly guys at Rollies will turn it around quick with a great quote and get you onto your next destination with the white glove treatment that Rollies is famous for. For your next move, make it Rollies. Find out more. Request an estimate today at Rollies.com. I have a feeling there will be plenty of dental work needed for NHL players over the course of the next 2 months in the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Hopefully you won't need teeth to be replaced, but if you need to get them cleaned, to get checked up, you got a cavity, or you need something like dental implants, St. Patel Dental Center has you totally covered. Pop down and see our friend Dr. Terry and his great staff at St. Patel Dental Center at their new location at 167 St. Anne's. Beautiful state-of-the-art facility with smiling faces all around, and of course, free parking conveniently located right behind the building. For all your dental needs, St. Patel Dental Center is there for you and your family. Make an appointment and find out more at stpateldental.ca. Hey, the weekend is here. It is a long weekend for just about everyone. Might be a great time to raise a glass to a great regular season and toast playoff success with Canada's favorite and iconic Canadian whiskey, Canadian Club. Since 1848, Canadian Club is the standard for Canadian whiskey. Pick it up at your Manitoba liquor marts along with Canadian Club 100% Rye, Canadian Club Classic, and of course, CC and Ginger pre-mixed cocktails in cans coming this summer. We'll be sipping those at the Bomber games as well, as Canadian Club is the official spirit of the blue and gold. Pick up your Canadian Club today and throughout the weekend at your local Manitoba liquor marts. And I don't think the Jets are going to need any sort of a boost when it comes to tomorrow's game. The fans are going to provide that. And Manitoba Battery has been the boost for Winnipeg Sports Talk listeners for years, getting you through the winter with your cars and your truck batteries. And now it's time to get ready for playoff season and the summer around the corner, getting your boats ready, ATVs and more. Manitoba Battery has batteries for literally everything at the best prices in town. So shop local, save money, beat the pants off the big box stores with price, and get the best customer service around as well, as Manitoba Battery will deliver to you for free anywhere inside the perimeter with any purchase over $60. It is just that easy. So visit them on Logan Avenue, Dovercourt Drive, or order online today at manitobabattery.com. Ken Wiebe still to come. We'll check in with Hacksaw. We've got 2 marble races, including one for the Game 2 tickets and the playoffs in the PEG giveaway. But right now, let's get ready for Jets Blues and welcome in former NHLer and great friend of the program, JP Vigier. Vig, what's going on? You were ready to drop the puck on the playoffs or what?
I was ready 2 weeks ago. The last 10 days of the season just seemed to drag, with some guys are in, some guys are out. What do the games mean? Let's rest this player. Let's just drop the puck and let's go.
Oh, I cannot wait. Hey, listen, before we get to it, what a season for the Jets. President's Trophy winners, Central Division champs for the first time, the number 1 seed, building on an amazing regular season and taking it to another level this year. Just thoughts on what they were able to accomplish under Scott Arniel for the full 82.
Well, the 10% that they talked about getting better, they did. The question marks of the season: special teams, check. Connor Hellebuyck, check, check, check. Decor, check, check, check. There were some loopholes. Stayed pretty healthy, check. Consistency, pretty good. Looking back, I think there's maybe 4 or 5 games through the 82 game schedule that I go, ooh, that was a dud. That's pretty good for consistency. I mean, you can't ask for better. Your elite players are playing above what they played the year before. Your role players are playing above what they did before. Your depth players are playing above what they did before. There's still a little bit of snow outside, but with this wind today, it's going to get knocked right out, and we're ready for the whiteout.
Yeah, well, the whiteout will be brought, hopefully not from Mother Nature, but from the.
It's not fun. Oh, sorry, Haas. I thought we were talking another snowstorm.
Wait, you know what? This is a perfect time for me to hit you all with the why not question of the day for Not Autocorp over at Waverly and McGillivray. Where's your confidence level today, folks, going into game one? Let's get some predictions for this series. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of confidence that the Jets can get it done. Certainly am interested in how long you think the series will go. And from a Jets side of things, while you're throwing this in the chat, who do you think is the and this is going to be something that Connor and Liss are going to be talking about later on today when we get into their content as soon as the big show's done. Who is the X factor for the Winnipeg Jets? I'll be honest. I listen, you can go with the big boys. I mean, Connor Hellebuyck, obviously. I think Kyle Connor is poised to have a big playoff series. Certainly Mark Scheifele. But I keep coming back to Morgan Barron. Now, I do think that with the injuries right now, and this is no disrespect to David Gustafsson or Jared Anderson-Dolan, Dolan actually has been very effective. I mean, he has been a hit machine. He's finished all of his checks. I think it's a big challenge for Gus to be able to kind of, show that he is a great option for Winnipeg come playoff time and do what he needs to do to be effective on that fourth line. The guy that comes back to me is Morgan Barron. I mean, if Morgan Barron can continue to play at the level that we've seen since he's moved into the center ice position, I think they'll be getting some advantageous matchups against the St. Louis bottom six. And we've seen him take the puck to the net, creating havoc and chaos and utilizing his speed to create offensive chances. And if nothing else, have that fourth line live in the other team's end. And a number of times we've seen them jump in and, spend, a full shift in the other team's end. And actually, and this happened a number of times in the St. Louis game on the 3rd of April, just a couple weeks back, be able to start line changes with puck possession in the other team's zone. So I would say Morgan Barron is my guy. And I see Jack Toombs is right there with it as well. This is a good chance to get to a little bit of fan feedback brought to you by Fans First. Your number one spot for buying and selling Winnipeg tickets on the resale market. A lot of people looking for tickets right now to get into the building. Check out fansfirst.ca. No fees. What you see is what you pay, which is always a very popular feature of Fans First. They've got great customer service as well. And if you have extra tickets or something happened and the people you're going with can't make it, certainly Fans First, the best place for selling as well. I'm just seeing some other. Tanev is going to be huge, I feel, from Natalie. Kim Sawchuk, X Factor, Scheifele. Can we get the playoff Mark Scheifele from 2018? He's had a career year. Well, let's see a career playoffs for the guy in the middle. Carolyn says Anderson Dolan. I like that. J-A-D, Jad, not Chad, Jad. And I see, and Bailey, what's up, Bailey? Hope you're enjoying your day off. Perfetti could be another X factor. Perfetti, particularly in the playoffs, as we're getting to. Now, we were speaking about Morgan Barron. We'll get to that with JP coming up in just a second as we continue. I think we've got the audio fixed on this. But again, fan feedback brought to you by Fans First. Check out the site today. By fans, for fans, no fees. Ken Wiebe still to come, but I think we fixed that audio gremlin. Let's hear more from JP Vigier on the Blues in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Morgan Barron's emergence in the middle of the fourth line has been a massive development post-trade deadline. We know what we're going to get from Adam Lowry in the playoffs in his line right now. But in particular, I'm interested in your thoughts on what the Tanev addition has done to the bottom six and your thoughts on Morgan Barron and what he might be capable of in this series.
Well, it's it's almost scary, right? He's almost starting to believe in himself again. You're seeing kind of a I got this mentality. And it's funny how he hadn't played center much in the National Hockey League, but he played center before. It almost freed him. We see him as a powerful skater. We're not talking Nikolai Ehlers kind of speed demon, but the power that he's been able to generate through the middle of the ice has allowed him to be quicker. There's no way about it. Like, you look at him, you're like, that's not the same guy that was playing left wing, at the start of the season. Almost the stop and start for him seems to be worse, right? Going up and down the boards. Now he's kind of, I'm calling it freewheeling, right? He's supporting through the neutral zone. He's in the right positions. It has almost freed his mind to allow him to do more. Playing the 200-foot game has almost helped him offensively. He's able to come under and support the puck and generate speed from under to allow him to do more. And we've seen some of his greatest goals, getting to the net off a zone entry. Like, if you can do that in the playoffs, and he's going to get a good matchup, right? I really believe. To me, the key for the Jets is going to be that fourth line. Tanev's ability to get in on the forecheck and get the pucks has created havoc. And his competitive fire, like, we're talking, like, he's not getting a lot of points, but he's going out blocking shots, slamming that door, yelling at a referee, chirping the other team, dragging people into the fight. Like, I want to win so bad, I don't care. I'll block another shot. Like, let's go. Slam the door again. I'll smash my stick. I'll get up. I'll go fast. Right? That Tasmanian devil, that's contagious. You're Mark Scheifele. You're like, this guy is crazy, but he wants to win so bad. I want to jump on that boat. Right? That's contagious when you get to that. And those are the guys that drag you when it's a 1-0 and things aren't going, and he goes out and he slams himself into somebody like that. Oh my God, we got to go, right? Like, you want to play for those guys, and those guys are the glue that stick the team into competitive nature night after night. And I think he's opened that fourth line. To me, what could be interesting here, if Gabe Vilardi comes back to that first line and Iafallo goes to that fourth line, that is a huge mismatch for the Jets that they can really take advantage of. Tanev speeds. Iafallo has shown some offensive flair over the last month, right? He's got 15 goals this year. Add Barron, who's created a little bit of offense over the last 3-4 weeks. You have a dangerous fourth line. They're big, they're fast, they're tenacious. They could create a lot of havoc for the St. Louis Blues if Vilardi comes back.
Yeah, Vilardi being out is kind of compounded by Ehlers being out week to week. And I mean, those are two very important offensive players that aren't in the lineup. It's also a huge hit to the power play, which brings me to Cole Perfetti. Cole, has completely morphed into a different player in the last 12 months, from where he was last year under Rick Bowness going into the playoffs as to where he is right now. Thoughts on the challenge ahead for Cole, both on a line, presumably with Niederreiter and Vladimir Metsnikov to get things going in game one, but also as a guy that's going to get a lot more looks and a lot more touches on the Jets' number one power play that will be missing Ehlers and assumedly Vilardi as well.
So I don't know if you remember last time we talked about Cole Perfetti. And I had not bashed him, but the one concern I had was his winning battles along the boards. What's the one thing we've seen out of Cole Perfetti? His compete and his battles have gone way up. He has found ways to win puck battles along the boards. We know he's good. We know he's skilled. We know once he gets the puck on his stick, he can do things. The problem we saw was he wasn't getting the puck on his stick enough to grow confidence. Grow confidence, win battles. He's won battles. He has grown confidence. We've seen him take off, right? Best point production, best consistency, 82-game schedule, didn't get hurt, shown, great flashes on that, I believe it's against Vancouver, that toe drag goal through the defenseman, and he roofs it as he's falling. So we're seeing great confidence. Now, the progression becomes St. Louis is big and heavy. He's going to have to find a way to continue that, right? To me, great stepping stone for him. He has proven to himself and others, I'm an NHLer, but I'm more than an NHLer. I can be counted upon to do the little things. He's winning battles. He's throwing some body checks, right? They're different than the other players, but they're there. So to me, those steps are coming. I think he's a quiet intangible for the Winnipeg Jets. He could go and help that power play be at 40%, or he could take that power play also to 5%.
Well, let's hope it's the 40 as opposed to the 5. Because listen, we know how big special teams are. Although, to be honest, in a series where, I guess we don't know how it'll be called and how many penalties will be done. As much as it's important to have a good power play and take advantage of those opportunities, the penalty kill might be even more important. And listen, the Jets have been number 1 all year. They've been sort of middle of the road in PK, but certainly over the last 6 weeks or so, maybe coincidentally since the trade deadline when Brandon Tanev arrived, there has been a steady climb in the numbers and the success, and we've seen huge PKs in some of the high leverage games, important matchups in the big games that they've won. What have you seen from the PK, and just your thoughts on the importance of it as maybe the forgotten special team that can save your bacon when you need it?
Yeah, well, forgotten a little bit, but I think it's taken a little bit longer than people anticipate. We saw such a boost in the power play this year right from the start. Everyone anticipated the PK to be the same. Like, why wouldn't it be first in the NHL, right? The Jets are good at everything else, so why wouldn't they? But I think it's taken a little bit longer to find the intricacies of the penalty kill, because I think that they've made some modifications from last year on assignments and roles and switches and pressure points. So I think that has taken some time to become natural. And I think adding Tanev has kind of solidified the pairs. It used to be Appleton and Lowry all day long. Now we're seeing Iafallo and Lowry come off the boards first on every PK. And I think the experience of Iafallo has kind of allowed Lowry a better chemistry to be on that PK, which I think has solidified the other groups as well, kind of that trickle-down effect of how they're using players. And we've seen a little more spot duty of Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele on the PK, depending on who's in the box and situational. But I think adding those layers, those guys have had to practice that a little bit more because the pairings are a little different and whatnot. So to me, I feel that's good. It can be a key, right? If your PK can kill their power play, Captain Obvious, the momentum of the game can change. So when things aren't going good, a big PK can help establish energy for the group, right? Like we did that as a group. Let's go now. Let's get back to our 5-on-5 game. To me, this series is going to be taken down 5v5. I think this is going to be a war, and I think this bodes well for the Jets. They play well at 5v5, one of the best teams in the league at scoring 5v5. I think that's where it's going to come down to. Can they shut down Kyrou and company and play it in the offensive zone? I think that's where it's going to be.
So, Vig, they're coming off a franchise record season where they were the best team in the NHL. They're also coming off 2 consecutive years where they won Game 1 and got bounced in 5 with big questions about the club. I would argue this team
you want to lose tomorrow? Is that what you're saying? Lose Game 1 so we feel better?
No, definitely not. But, as a guy that's been in these games before and has finished the regular season and gotten ready to start the playoffs, what do you think is going on in the room right now as they prepare for what they hope to be the first of 16 wins, but acknowledging the pressure that comes with being the top team, but also needing to slay the demons of the last couple seasons?
Okay, one, no pressure, right? No pressure of the regular season. The season's done. So we're starting 0-0. So there is no President's Cup. There is no last season. There is no nothing else. It's all about Game 1. Preparation and methodical preparation for Game 1. What we've seen from the Jets all year has been, we finished the game, we were good, thank you, we're going to look at the videotape, we're going to get better for tomorrow. We sucked today, we're going to watch the videotape, we're going to get better for tomorrow. That is the methodical effort that you're going to see here from the Winnipeg Jets. Things aren't going to change dramatically. They're not changing their system for the St. Louis Blues. This has been a calculated play to get better for playoffs, but it's the steps that they've gone through. So now, day 1, tomorrow is a weird start time for that, but you're going to look at the Jets to do the same thing. Nothing's going to change. They're not going to change what they do, how they play. It's just about the details of the game. Can they be quicker than St. Louis? Can they reload over the puck? Can they make sure their backtracking does not allow St. Louis to get looks off the zone entry? And I think those details are really what's going. They're excited. Like, now they got to, like, pressure is a privilege. Billie Jean said that. And you got to take that as, like, we were good. This is awesome. Like, now let's keep it going, right? Like, the room has got to feel great. They have had a great year. The energy is positive. let's drop the puck and play and just show what we can do. There is no pressure. They win, they're supposed to. They lose, it's the playoffs. Like, really, go through any round. You can see an upset, a 7-game series, an injury. Anything can happen through all this, and it's the playoffs. I've seen teams in the 7th place go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, and we've seen first-place teams win the whole thing. Matchups, like Dallas, Colorado. Us, who's going to win? Who knows? Both teams are playing crappy. McKinnon's been hurt for 2 weeks. Is Landeskog coming back? All I know is they should beat the tar out of each other. So if the Jets get to round 2, they got a hurt team against them.
Well, that would be nice. And listen, that was the carrot of winning the division, and it was no disrespect to a St. Louis or a Minnesota or Calgary that was going to be in a wild card spot. It was that you didn't have to go up against Colorado in round number 1, and a hell of a good team, one of the 5-6 best teams in the league, was going to be out no matter what. And you'd only have to face one of them if you're going to get out of the Central. Listen, I won't ask you for some grandiose prediction or anything like that, but just, you watch this game as a former player. You're very close to the team, knowing what they've accomplished this year, where they are right now. What do you think this team is capable of if things go well starting tomorrow at 5 p.m.?
They've proven that they can beat anybody in the league. You say shutout? No, but they can do whatever they want, right? Like, in theory, no team is better than them, right? Pick your team. Yes, provide challenges, different sets of challenges. If they end up playing Edmonton, can they control McDavid and Draisaitl? They've proven they can. They've also proven they can't. So depending on how things go on a day-to-day basis, there's no reason why they can't go all the way, but there's also a chance that they could lose in the first round, right? So to me, they can, if things go right, they can win the whole thing. We could be talking again in June about this.
That is the nature of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and to be honest, it's never been more wide open. I'm just checking the odds this morning over at Coolbet, and the Cup favorites now are 7-1, and you've got 9 teams in between 7 and 10 to 1, which is very, very close. So the sky's the limit. Everyone's got a chip in a chair, as they say, and we'll get going with the entire tournament starting off right here in Winnipeg tomorrow at 5 p.m. Before we run, I do want to quickly hit a couple of these other series with you. You mentioned Dallas, Colorado. Dallas, no Heiskanen. We know how important that is. Now, Jason Robertson got hurt in their last game. That could be devastating for them. And then, Colorado, when they have been on since all of their changes, obviously they've been really good. It hasn't been completely smooth on that one. What's your read on this series?
I have no idea, because you forgot about Ottinger. He's been playing like garbage the last 2 weeks. Right? He's the key to this series.
That's important.
That is, we all know how good goaltending can be. And, is Landeskog coming back for Colorado? Just sounds like it. He played a couple games in the American League. And McKinnon, what's he like? He hasn't played in 10 days. I got a whole lot of questions about this series, and I have no idea that a goaltender can steal this series, but Ottinger has gone into the playoffs backwards. Colorado, sometimes their defense is leaky. They give up a lot of chances, so Dallas could score, but Nathan McKinnon puts that bull-headed helmet of his on, and he can take over a series by himself.
Hey, Battle of Ontario should be fun.
Yeah.
We remember those battles between Toronto and Ottawa, 2 decades ago. The Sens are back. I cannot wait to see what Brady Tkachuk is like in the playoffs. Just the energy that he brings. A lot of the things that you just mentioned with Brandon Tanev, you can say, but add about 40 pounds and, an extra 25 goals and 30 points. The Leafs have a ton of pressure on them, but they're a heck of a good team, and they, like the Jets, did what they set out to do at the start of the year and win the Atlantic Division. Ottawa's playing with house money, no pressure, very different situation in Toronto. Give us your thoughts on the Battle of Ontario, Vij.
Yeah, I think we got to see if Four Nations drop the puck, throw a line ball in there to start. Oh, that would be awesome, huh?
I don't know if Marner, Matthews, Nylander, I'm not really sure that that's their cup of tea.
Right. I don't disagree, but I think Ottawa is, like you said, is playing with house money. I think they could throw a squeaky upset in here. Like, you know how Toronto's world works. It's all about, Matthews, Marner, but Ottawa has found a way to grind games, and that's not easy. Toronto has learned to play this grind game, but it's Toronto. It's one loss, and everything's going to hit the fan and how they react to it. I mean, there's a lot of pressure. No contract for Tavares, no contract for Marner. What are they going to do? I think there's always a cloud of negativity around Toronto, so I think it'll be a heck of a series. And I think good luck holding on to Tkachuk, because he has been watching his brother get to the Stanley Cup Finals and win. He is going to prove to the world that he is just as good, if not better, at stirring the pot and dragging his team to victory. So good luck, Toronto.
Hey, the other, incredible matchup in the first round. It should all be fun, but Battle of Florida. Tampa and the Panthers. Listen, Matthew Tkachuk still hasn't played. We'll see what his status is for the start of the year. Amazing coaching matchup between John Cooper and Paul Maurice, both guys that have won Stanley Cups. Do you have a sense of, is there a favorite in your mind in this series?
No, there's too many questions for me. Like, which Tampa team is it? They can be so Jekyll or Hyde. In Florida, injuries and suspensions. I believe, is Ekblom back from suspension, right, for game one?
I think he's out the first two games.
First two games, right? So I heard Tkachuk is back. That's a huge win. There's so many tangibles both ways. Which Florida team? Because they have been Jekyll and Hyde down the stretch as well. So I don't have a favorite. Goaltenders, both stellar. Both two different styles, where Tampa Bay is more kind of flowy and create chances at both ends. Florida is like get in your face, pound you till you're blue, and win it 3-1 with an empty netter. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see who can get out to the lead early and stick to their game. I think that'll be the adjustment. Stay away from the power play. Victor Hedman and company can destroy you on the power play. But then if you can nullify Kucherov, what does Tampa have?
Vij, cannot wait to drop the puck tomorrow. Let's hope we've got a couple months to have some conversations about the team downtown playing home games and moving on through the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Have a great long weekend. Thanks so much for jumping on today on Good Friday, and enjoy the playoffs, my friend.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right, thanks to JP. We'll have Ken coming up in about 5 for us here on WST. Hey, I want to shout out our friend Sean from Let's Do It Travel, who is, I know, is in the chat today, hanging out as many of you are getting ready for the playoffs. It's great to have Let's Do It Travel on board with us. And hey, listen, whether you are planning maybe an epic sports trip following the Jets are on the road in the playoffs, or the Masters next year, or the Super Bowl, or planning next winter's all-inclusive, or maybe the most important one, a destination wedding, reach out to Sean at Let's Do It Travel to make sure you're getting the most out of your vacation time and stretching your dollar further. It's suggest going over to their Instagram, Let's Do It Travel WPG. Throw them a follow as well, or check them out online at letsdoittravel.com. And hey, Let's Do It Travel, Sean, great WSTers, waiving their booking fees for WST listeners. Just let Sean know that we sent you. And he actually just posted a great article on letsdoittravel.com about how using a travel agent in 2025 can save you time and money. Head over to the website, or as I said, the Instagram at letsdoittravel.com to check it out. You got a buddy in the travel business with fellow WSTer Sean and Let's Do It Travel. So get in touch today. Whiteout Mania is taking over the city. I'm now starting to see these signs everywhere. I was walking up Corden yesterday, and Bar I, the patio, has the Whiteout Mania signs all along Corden and onto Coburn. Looks great. If you haven't picked yours up already, it, of course, is presented by Princess Auto, and you can grab the signs at Princess Auto locations in Winnipeg, Panet Road, Portage Avenue West, and, of course, in Brandon. And if you go over to the Jets website, you can find out more on Whiteout Mania. They're encouraging people to send in photos and videos of how they're getting ready for the playoffs, the outfits, the setups at home for the games. hype songs, you name it, they're doing it, and they're giving away playoff tickets for that. So if you and your friends are gearing up big time for the games, the street parties, just the excitement of the playoffs, make sure to enter your content pieces at Whiteout Mania, presented by Princess Auto. Show your whiteout best and win playoff tickets today. That's through the Jets website. And again, pick up the signs at Princess Auto, Brandon, Portage Avenue West, and Panet Road in the city. We're not really thinking about summer yet, but if you will give me a moment to look ahead a month or two, we're going to be back on the water and slaying them at Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge. You might be thinking about maybe different travel plans for the summer based on everything that's going on. Why not stay in the province and be on the water at a beautiful fly-in fishing lodge that is truly one of a kind in less than 2 hours from the city of Winnipeg, featuring world-class fishing and even more world-class hospitality from the Turenne family and the Aikens team. Find out more about the 2025 fishing season and availability today at aikenslake.com and give them a follow on all of their social channels at Aikens Lake. And hey, as we throw the whites on tomorrow, I know there'll be some white suits in the building. You might not be looking for a full whiteout approved white suit, but fellas, if you need to up your menswear game as we head into grad and wedding season, F Apparel is the spot to go. 190 Smith Street downtown. Custom suits starting just over $400. Chinos, golf pants, custom shirts, both tucked and untucked styles, and the best menswear accessories in town. Great deals right now. Their grad special. If you buy a suit, that grad will receive a free custom shirt and tie with their purchase. And of course, they've got a great discount for wedding parties when the fellas get their suits at the big day at F Apparel. So pop down and see them at 190 Smith Street downtown, or check them out online. More information on all their promotions, and you can book an appointment to come in for a fitting at that's EPH apparel.com. All right, Ken's going to join us in just a minute, but I promised we'd hear from Connor Hellebuyck, and Helly spoke yesterday, locked and loaded to build off of a record-setting regular season. Here's Hellebuyck on being the first goalie ever to win back-to-back solo Jennings trophies.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, but both my backups played a phenomenal role in that, and two great guys around. And I mean, they played 25% of the game, so for me, it's a team award, a tandem award and a team award. I mean, there's so much that goes into that, and you can look back and it's going to be great to see my name there, but I think the true memories are going to come from what it took for this team to get that.
All right, so there's Hellebuyck on the Jennings trophy, and listen, doing it back-to-back, I mean, it's not just a Hellebuyck award, as he mentioned. It's certainly both goaltenders, but it's the entire team, and I know that's something the entire team really takes a lot of pride in. And Reem, I will say, I mean, I know that they have the line that you have to get to, the limit, the Eric Comrie and LB both deserve to be on those trophies, I guess is what I'm trying to say in a very poor way right now. I felt bad that LB finished just short of the number last year, and Hellebuyck was the first one to say that Eric Comrie was a big, big part of it as well. But, I mean, listen, Hellebuyck's going to get a ton of hardware, and he should. But I think we can all agree that both LB last year and Eric Comrie this year are a huge part of being able to achieve those gaudy defensive numbers that won the team back-to-back Jennings trophies.
Yeah, I mean, those guys were, especially Brossois last year, had exceptional numbers. And even if Comrie's record, wasn't quite near Hellebuyck's, he was awesome. I mean, I think he got off to a bit of a slow start, but he had an extended streak of allowing like 2 or less. And the Jets just weren't scoring goals for him, but he came in and he was solid. Both goalies solid. And I mean, I don't know how they came up with this arbitrary 25-game number. And I agree. If you ask Hellebuyck, ask anyone on the team, it's both goalies. It is also, you could say it's a team award as well, because they play within the structure to let Hellebuyck, see all the shots. They're not giving up cross-ice passes or odd man rushes. And if he can see it and it's in front of him, he's going to stop it. And he did that all year. Will likely win another Vezina trophy, and now has back-to-back Jennings trophy, and the first alone back-to-back recipient of the Jennings Award. And the Jets are the first team to do it since the Devils in the early 2000s, and we know how good those Devil teams were, and we also know who their goalie was in Marty Brodeur.
Yeah. No, exactly. And listen, just on Comrie, because we'll be spending most of our time talking Hellebuyck, 20 games. I'm starting with Helly. I mean, that 20, I think, would be a better number. 21, if you want to talk about 25% of the games. But, I mean, Eric had a 239 goals against average and a 914 save percentage. Very good numbers for a backup goalie. Hellebuyck also just talked about how he's feeling heading into game 1 tomorrow.
I think I could have played a little bit more this year, but no, it's always a talking point, but it's just talking. I manage myself so well, and I've been doing this for a while, and kind of got everything dialed in, and I got the right people around me to make myself feel good every day, and got a good rhythm. So I feel really good. I feel rested. I feel ready for what's next.
And that's exactly what you want to hear from the guy that's going to go back-to-back for the Vezina and might win the Hart. And I've been telling you, he is built different. Wanted to play more. Well, he'll get a chance to play a lot more if this team can string some wins together starting tomorrow. One more from Helly before we bring Ken in. Here's he was asked, and this is a great one, on what they need to do to maximize their home ice advantage.
I don't think we need to do anything. I know you've been around a crowd. Our crowd is insane. I think the second we step on that ice, we got it. We have that home ice advantage. I know our crowd's going to bring it. They're elite at chants, the in-game chants, and I just feel like our crowd chants the right moments, and that's maybe just a PK clearing the puck. They get the game. They know what little moments, how big of an impact it has on a game. So, I think just playing the game and having our crowd there is already a huge advantage.
All right, great stuff from Hellebuyck. He'll be front and center tomorrow, 5 p.m. for Puck Drop. We're going to get to Jets Blues coming right up with Ken Wiebe. And this upcoming segment is a presentation of your Prairie Toyota dealers. And gang, you've got 5 days left to enter this awesome contest that Prairie Toyota dealers are putting on with a grand prize, including a signed Mark Scheifele jersey and a signed Connor Hellebuyck jersey and some other great WST merch. There's a link in the description. If you're with us on YouTube, Remis will throw it in the chat. You can also, if you're listening on the podcast, head over to Prairie Toyota Dealers on Instagram at Prairie Toyota Dealers or Facebook at Prairie Toyota to enter. And again, there's a link in the description. Prairie Toyota Dealers also want to remind you to get in and go with the Toyota Tundra. Man, that is a sweet looking rig. Quality that means it has the strength to take on any challenge, off-road or hauling a heavy load. And the Tundra's backed by the peace of mind knowing it's a Toyota. You can look into those right now from $154 weekly for 60 months at 5.19% APR with $66.99 down. Hybrid is available. More information, check it all out today. Visit shoptoyota.ca. All right, Wiebe's World, saving the best for last this week. And Ken Wiebe joins us as we get ready for game 1. Kenny, you were down at the rink. What was the buzz like around the Jets today as they have one more sleep before beginning to depart on their Stanley Cup playoff journey?
Yeah, afternoon, Huss. Great to be with you as always. It was a little bit of snapping the puck around. Certainly, you could tell by the pace and the intensity that this was a team that was ready to get rolling here. Would have probably been ready to get rolling when the week started rather than the week is ending here. But such is life, and they're going to have to get ready for a few breaks in this series, Huss, as it turns out. But yeah, the mood was what you would expect from a team that has had a great season and knows that they will be judged from this point forward, right? That's not to take anything away from what has been an impressive run to the first President's Trophy, first Central Division title, first Western Conference regular season banner in franchise history. But yeah, this team from the moment that they were eliminated last year has been preparing for this, what they're going to prepare for us this weekend, starting with the St. Louis Blues. And they're not looking down the road, but as we've been talking about for what feels like weeks or months, I would say that having to try to slay a dragon from one of those ghosts of playoffs past is a pretty fun way for both a team and a city, province, fan base, whatever you want to call it. I think that there's we often look for signs in sports, Huss, and I would say that the opportunity to face the hottest team in the NHL since the Four Nations break is a pretty good test for a team that has aspirations of playing until June, quite frankly.
Kenny, we'll get into the way the lineup looks tomorrow in a second and what the Blues will be bringing. But what are you hearing? What's your feeling on the guys that are out right now and potential availability at some point in the series? Kupari, Ehlers, Gabe Vilardi.
Yeah, I mean, Kupari's not skating, Huss, so that suggests setback. So I mean, again, who knows? Concussions are tough to put a timeline on. So I would say probably out for the series. Ehlers, I'm going to guess the fact that the Jets were willing to share week to week rather than day to day, I'm going to say out for the series also. I don't have confirmation on that, but that is what my educated guesswork, if we're trying to follow the breadcrumbs and read the tea leaves. In terms of Gabe Vilardi, simply because he hasn't been on the ice with the team yet, he was been on the ice regularly this week, and that's an important step in the process. I would say I don't expect him until the mid to tail end of the series. I don't know that for a fact again either, Huss, but because of the two-day breaks early on in the series, I would say my guess is the earliest is Game 4, probably leaning towards Game 5, but once we see Gabe Vilardi on the ice with his teammates in a yellow non-contact jersey, then we're going to say it's probably a couple of days away sort of scenario. But I expect to see Gabe Vilardi before the series is over. And for the folks who think it's going to be a sweep, that's fine. You can think that. But I do think we will. He's the only person I expect to see from that trio in this series, Huss. That's sort of where I'm at right now. But again, injuries in the playoffs. Nikolai Ehlers has played through an inordinate amount of pain before, Huss, and I think he basically played with a broken ankle in Game 6 in 2019 against the Blues. So I have no idea if we're going to see a Bobby Bond type of scenario at some point. But for right now, I'm going to guess 2 outs and 1 late in the series would be my best way to boil it down for you.
Which, of course, is going to mean a bit of a shakeup in the lines below. Well, I mean, listen, as of right now, Alex Iafallo is already playing up in Gabriel Vilardi's usual spot on that top line. It sounds like Nito Niederreiter rolls with Vlad and Cole Perfetti, and Brandon Tanev gets the boost. How much of an let's look at it in a positive way. The opportunity for a player like Jared Anderson-Dolan to make an impact in the postseason after playing just about the entire year with the Manitoba Moose. And, we're both big fans of the Gus Bus. I would say that David Gustafsson has a huge opportunity to, kind of put his best foot forward and be an impactful player around a guy that I really, truly think can be the X factor in this series, Morgan Barron, with the way that he's played since he's moved to center.
Yeah, it's super interesting, right? We'll go bottom up instead of top down here on this one. So for me, I agree with you 100%. I just got off the air with Alex Ferrario at ESPN in St. Louis, and that's exactly what he said. I'm not sure X factor. Maybe that's slightly too strong for Morgan Barron, but not really, right? I mean, this is a guy the Jets missed, incredibly last year in that playoff series because of his big power forward kind of body, what he can do, get to the net, use his speed, all of those things. And he's really elevated his game since moving to the middle, Huss, first and foremost. Gustafsson, we know he came in out of the bullpen last year in the playoffs, scored a big goal in that series. Jared Anderson-Dolan is doing an excellent job. Dog on a bone mentality, speed, physicality, banging everything. He has not turned away from a single hit in any game that he has played since his promotion.
He's finished them all too.
That's what I mean. So it's impressive. And Jared Anderson-Dolan, Morgan Barron has raised his stock the most, but nobody from the depth forward group, and I don't include Barron because to me, he's kind of always been the 10th or 11th forward, whatever you want to call him. And you could have promoted Morgan Barron at any point this season. And he would not have done anything but help the team. But to me, Jared Anderson-Dolan is pushing to the point of he's, are you sure you can take me out of the lineup? I mean, that's sort of where he's at. And I mean, we were, talking about it this morning at the Hockey for All Center, Huss. I mean, Jared Anderson-Dolan is sort of in the position where he could provide a Joe Morrow type of moment. And for people who remember 2018, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Morrow came out of the bullpen unexpectedly and scored the game-winning goal in Game 1 against the Minnesota Wild. First playoff win in 2.0 franchise history. So Yeah, I mean, Anderson Dolan's done a nice job there too, Huss. And then we look at the next promotion. The next promotion is for Brandon Tanev. Brandon Tanev brings an element. No, he does not have the same finishing ability as Nino Niederreiter. That is obvious. We know that. But Brandon Tanev's also been a double-digit goal scorer, including this season, Huss. And what he brings in terms of the speed component, and Nino Niederreiter's a physical player, Huss, but Brandon Tanev is a Tasmanian devil that also hits everything that moves, and he gets there a little bit quicker. So I don't see a drop-off with that line when he's on it. Yeah, there could be a slight offensive drop-off, but even Adam Lowry said this to me on this last road trip, Huss. It allows Mason Appleton to have someone who skates at his speed, right? I mean, so these got two guys that are ferocious on the forecheck. Not that Niederreiter cannot be, but Huss, I've been saying for 2 years that Nino Niederreiter, although he's been great on that Adam Lowry line, no one's disputing that. One of the best third lines in hockey. But for a group that needs secondary scoring out of that second line, with Ehlers not there, there's no better option than Nino Niederreiter in that spot. And what I will also say, Huss, Nino Niederreiter is a playoff performer. A guy's lived in the playoffs his entire career and has come up with big moments at various times for various teams. And I see what I saw today, Huss, again, it's practice, I get it. I see Nino Niederreiter embracing the opportunity. He's flying around out there. I think that Nino's going to have a massive series while Ehlers is out on that second line. I think he can be a big-time playoff performer, whether that's at 5-on-5 or on the second power play unit. That's sort of how I see that playing out. And I've talked about this for years. I think there is an element that we know that Niederreiter plays well with Nemesnikov, and I've been curious for a long time about what that element of Nino Niederreiter's game can do to help Cole Perfetti, who is also his stock, could not be higher on the rise going into the playoffs. And this is beautiful for Perfetti, Huss. You go from, subjected to press box duty one spring to being counted on, and not just counted on to be a complimentary piece. Cole Perfetti's got to be a primary point producer if the Jets want to go deep into the playoffs. And that too is something that I see him absolutely embrace with open arms. And he's ready for it. He's ready for that challenge. He's ready to accept it. He's ready to deliver when the chips are needed to be put down.
And that time is 5 p.m. tomorrow at Canada Life Center in the whiteout. What a hell of a way to start off the Stanley Cup playoffs. I can't wait for that scene tomorrow and then to get on with it. Now, I'm looking at where the Blues are at right now. And Reem, if you want to, even for the people with us on YouTube, maybe fire this up just from DFO on YouTube. Here are the way the Blues lines look. Robert Thomas is in the middle. Pavel Buchnevich and Jake Neighbors, their top line. Brayden Schenn playing with Jordan Kyrou and Jimmy Snuggerud, who has all of 7 games NHL experience. Oscar Sundqvist with Bolduc, and Bolduc's had a real good season, just scored again in their last time out, and Matthew Joseph. And then their fourth line, Hacksaw, Torpchenko, and Nathan Walker. When you look at this lineup right now, knowing that these first 2 games are here in Winnipeg, when it comes to the forward lines, do you have any inkling of the matchups that Scott Arniel will be looking for? And what do you think the most key matchups are when it comes to the line matching that will end up happening once we get going?
Yeah, Huss, I mean, it's a great question. And, obviously the Blues splitting up Kyrou and Thomas, who have been, they've been the Blues version of Scheifele and Connor, right? I mean, so they've split them up to try to find a little bit more balance in their lineup. Snuggerud has done a nice job coming out of the University of Minnesota program to fill in for Dylan Holloway, who quickly, Huss, from people I've been talking to in St. Louis, again, it's cloud of secrecy there also, but I'm not expecting to see Dylan Holloway come out of the bullpen for the St. Louis Blues here either. Now, again, that caveat can say you can heal at various levels and maybe he comes out, but it's hard to imagine Holloway coming out and being close to 100% in this series. That's a humongous loss for them. He's been a massive piece of their puzzle, but having someone like Snuggerud come in and make an impact, it's like having, a more inexperienced version of Alex Iafallo, not in terms of how they play, but the ability to have someone just come in out of college and be able to fill in without a humongous drop off is a massive scenario for the Blues, much like it is for the Jets, having Niederreiter and Iafallo in reserve. In terms of the matchups, Lowry will be playing against one of those lines, Huss. That's the best way I can put it. I expect, because of how well Robert Thomas has played coming out of Four Nations break, it's going to start as being Thomas, but you'll also see Lowry against Schenn just because of the physical element that Schenn can bring to the series. But I suspect it'll be more Thomas versus Lowry, but with a side order of Mark Scheifele versus Thomas, right? There's going to be some best on best in there as well. But because of that element, I think they're going to see a combination platter of those two guys. The Sundqvist line is interesting, right? Joseph's got a ton of speed. But I would say that I'm not going to call it the weakness of the Blues, but I would say that we're talking about depth. And even with the Jets being down 2 forwards, I think the Jets forward group is still deeper than the Blues forward group. So what kind of things is Scott Arniel going to do to get certain lines out? The Scheifele line. Are you going to put him out against Sundqvist, or are you going to put him out against Faksa at different times? Now, that's something I'll be looking for. When it comes to the defensive matchups, I think it's, again, combo platter. DeMello, Morrissey going to get a ton of the matchups against Thomas. You're going to see Samberg and Pionk probably against Schenn a lot. But again, it also depends who you're going out with based on what you're able to generate. We're going to see Luke Schenn and Logan Stanley out again a lot against Fox's line, out a lot against the Sundqvist line, and then we'll sort of just see how it goes. But again, I see Schenn as a guy who's going to be getting multiple looks, right? You're going to see him with Morrissey. You may see him occasionally with Samberg. You're obviously going to see him on the penalty kill as well. So that's sort of where we're at. And one of the wrinkles we saw this week, I mean, it feels like a wrinkle, maybe it wasn't. Schenn with Samberg was one of the penalty killing groupings, and we also saw Pionk and DeMello killing together, which was a little bit new because Pionk had missed that time down the stretch.
Any thoughts on how this all might change when we get to St. Louis? I mean, what would make Monty most comfortable with the last change? And I guess we can talk about this after game 2, but
yeah,
just interesting to think what would be preferred. Like, are there matchups that he's going to try and get away from when we get going tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's going to prefer. I mean, Monty's a great in-game tactician, right? That's one of his biggest strengths as a coach. We've seen it dating back to his Dallas days, seen it in Boston, and we're seeing it now in St. Louis. So I would say that they'll maybe try to get Kyrou or Thomas away from DeMello and Morrissey, or occasionally try to get their top. Again, at home, you're trying to get your top 6 out against the bottom pairing guys, right? I mean, that's sort of going to be one of the things that we look at. But I mean, as Scott Arniel pointed out yesterday, you're not going to get so locked on the matchup that you're doing a 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off because you're scared of those guys. You may want to shelter guys at times, but this is a 4-line hockey team. They've been a 4-line hockey team all year. I don't see a ton of sheltering that is required. But in terms of, I think he's going to try to get the Sundqvist line out against Lowry in some of those home matchups in St. Louis at Enterprise Center. But otherwise, I don't see I don't see this as being a series where the coach of one team is scared of the other team's checking line. I just don't see that being how either one of these guys operates. Of course, you're looking to try to get your best players out against the fourth line when you can at various times and try to get offense that way. But I just think these teams are both, deep. They're both have, again, look at the experience on the back end there for the Blues. Cam Fowler and Colton Parayko, Parayko's won the Cup. Fowler's played a ton. Broberg was playing in great Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final last year. Justin Falk's got experience, Ryan Suter, Nick Leddy, all these guys. So I don't see them doing a whole lot of sheltering in terms of their defense pairings. And again, Luke Schenn's not a third pairing guy. He's a guy you can play 19 minutes comfortably and not worry about it, right? So, we saw the other day Logan Stanley brought that physical element that he's going to need in a series like this if he wants to be in every game of the series, Huss. I mean, we've been talking about this for 3 years, especially down the stretch here, because the Jets have other options that they will consider if they need to go to them. But again, we haven't even got to the goalie matchup, which I think is going to be absolutely fabulous and a lot of fun. Even if neither guy wants to get into the verbal sparring element of it, I think that there's certainly going to be a little bit. I mean, you played the clips, Huss. I mean, Hellebuyck is not lacking hunger. Let's put it that way. Nor is he lacking confidence. Nor should he be. But there is someone standing in the crease across from him that has done what he wants to do and has recently taken something that he wanted. So whether he wants to talk about it publicly or not, and he does not, I think Connor Hellebuyck is very eager on the, we've talked about the dragon slaying tour element of this. I would think that he is going to play his best hockey of his season, of his career. And Huss, if that is the case, it's an incredibly high level, because look at the level he's played at to this point this season. right? I mean, that's just going to be the way that it is. So I think it's going to be fantastic. I mean, will there be, and Bennington isn't a guy who's going to be, shying away from anything. Will there be, nervous chants in the building? To what are you expecting from your section, Huss? Will there be things directed at Jordan Bennington?
This is the thing. I hope that if the fans are going to start giving it to Binner, they will let it happen after the Jets get up. I don't think poking the bear serves a positive purpose if it's a 0-0 game in the second period. I mean, sure. I think he just would feed off that. But if the Jets can pop one or get a couple, they will be all over him. And as we've seen, it can go one of two ways for Jordan Binnington. I mean, he can be incredibly locked in and be on a heater and no one can score on him. He could also completely lose his mind and his composure, and that would be a great thing for Winnipeg. So we'll see what the crowd and what opportunities they maybe get to give it to Binnington. But I would suggest to everyone, we don't need to be chanting his name 2 minutes into the game tomorrow. Let it happen naturally. Hey, just back to the blue line.
It'll be fun, right? I mean, and that's the thing. One thing about Binnington too, Huss, over time, I mean, he has sort of seemed, I wouldn't say that he's calmed down, but he seems to have a little better handle on the emotional turmoil side of things, right? I don't anticipate we're going to see Binnington throwing a water bottle at Nazem Kadri in one of the intermissions.
Well,
or post-game
I did see him lose his
year.
mind on Corey Perry last week. I mean,
fair.
he
fair
still
enough.
has that club in his bag, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah,
also fair, but it's part of
removed.
It's what part of makes it fun to watch him, isn't it?
The one thing that just blows me away about the St. Louis blue line is the experience they have on it. Now, obviously, Broberg is a younger player. We'd have to look this up. I'm not sure. When was the last time any team had iced a 6-man unit in the playoffs that had a guy with 1,500 games, 2 over 1,000 games, and 1 at 980 just about to go? Falk is 980. Fowler and Leddy are both over 1,000, and Ryan Suter has 1,500 games. There's a lot of experience, but a lot of tread on the tires. And I do think when I look at the Jets attacking St. Louis, I think there are opportunities on the rush, taking advantage of the speed of the Winnipeg Jets that could potentially, be pretty like a big factor when it comes to the Winnipeg Jets, because when they are good, they're playing well defensively. They can turn it around and transition very quickly, and maybe jumping at the Blues players that might not be certainly have all the moxie and the experience, but might not have the wheels of some of the guys that the Jets are bringing.
Yeah, the one thing about Nick Leddy, Huss, he's still very mobile in terms of skating ability. Suter's a guy who we know has had some struggles in those series, right? In the last couple of years with Dallas, he was exposed in some of those series, but he also plays incredibly hard, and he's one of the most sneaky, dirty players in the NHL in terms of his stick work, Huss. So, I mean, there's a balance there. There's experience versus foot. Again, I don't think foot speed's a massive issue for their blue line. They still move around pretty well, and getting Parayko back is a massive difference for them. And even too, the Jets didn't see him in that game, that Amazon game on the Monday late in the year. So Parayko's a guy, he's their number one D-man. So, I mean, he's going to help them. But yeah, I mean, I think the Jets are going to they're going to need to generate off the forecheck, and that means taking advantage of some of those experienced guys. So I'm with you there 100%. And the forecheck is such an important part of their game, the structure that they play with. That's how they generate a lot of their, the in zones type of things, low to high, getting the defenseman involved, and all of those other things that have made them a President's Trophy winning team. But yeah, it's going to be an awesome series. Can't wait for it. And I mean, 2-day break, Huss, not optimal, but well, I have to report the Brewers are playing at the Cardinals next Friday, so I will have to do a little bit of scouting there, I think, in Busch Stadium.
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll get 2 seats together and we can do a hot dog or popcorn review where we're at. Still thinking about a potential impromptu trip down
14-hour drive, Huss. We looked at the old Google Maps here as we saw how skyrocketing.
Oh, believe me, negotiations are with some of the fellows right now as to timing, how this can work.
That's good. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But yeah.
Hey, just before we go, and again, we're going to have lots of time to chat about this series as it gets going this weekend and continues next week. But Ken, I mean, listen, we've spent a lot of time talking about the incredible nature of the season. We don't need to dive into it, but we did say that today, Friday, with votes being due at the end of today, I would ask you if Hellebuyck has done enough.
I can't tell you the answer. I can't tell you the answer.
Has he? I'm not saying who you're voting for.
I can't tell you who I voted for.
Has he done enough in your mind to potentially win the Hart? We have heard a number of other people that are saying that they're supporting him, but do you get the sense that it's going to be very close? Do you get the sense that he's the favorite right now? I mean, again, without showing your cards, just your evaluation of your brethren in the Professional Hockey Writers Association.
Yeah, I'd say his case is strong. Obviously, his candidacy has been taken very seriously by all the voters that I spoke with in the last week. Yeah, I mean, has he done enough to win it all? That we're not going to know until June, Huss, but it's hard to envision. And again, what I would say is that I don't think that missing out by 0.01 points of your save percentage, I don't think that winning all four categories or not winning the fourth category by 0.01 by a guy who started 19 fewer games, that's not going to hurt his candidacy. Connor's had an incredible year, exceptional on a lot of fronts. But as I said, I mean, the Hart Trophy is beauty is in the eye of the beholder type of award. And, that means I didn't talk to every voter, so I can't give you a clear indication. But what I can tell you is that everyone has taken Hellebuyck's candidacy very seriously, and I expect him to be a finalist. And I won't be surprised if he wins his first Hart Trophy. But having said that, there are some people that feel strongly about some of the other candidates.
Who, just to clarify, who all gets to vote? And are like the newspaper writers like you held to a different standard when it comes to saying who you're voting for as opposed to the people that apparently have votes that have already put their cards on the table?
So, so there's the Professional Hockey Writers Association chooses a select number. I think in our Winnipeg chapter, I think we have 5 voters this year. So generally it's been 4. This year we have a 5th voter. There are, I think, 15 to 20 broadcasters who have also been given votes, including Craig Button, which again, I'm all for Craig being able to show all of his cards, and that's okay. But, our part of the reason, as I was explaining this to Connor yesterday, so just to keep the results sort of secret. I mean, if every voter goes out and says who they're voting for, I mean, guess what? Guess who's going to Vegas, Huss? I mean, there's somebody here counting who's saying, oh, Hellebuyck's first on his ballot. Oh, his ballot. I mean,
the nominees won't even show up.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. And not just that, right? I mean, it's sort of, it interferes with the entire process. And again, you know more about the gambling side than I do, but, and another thing people should know who think that we're, the people in the voting, if you have gambled on any of these award winners, you lose your right to vote. It's a hard and fast rule. So it's not like I poll 50 voters and say, oh, well, look, Hellebuyck's going to win. I run to Vegas with $1 million. I mean, that's no bueno here. So anyways.
The time to get in on Helly was November, like we did in the lock shop.
There you go. There you go.
So yes, I want him to win it for many reasons right now. But honestly, all of that's secondary to this series. What happens tomorrow when the puck drops at 5 p.m.? What a scene that's going to be, Ken. I mean, I think it is. I mean, I know there's a lot of factors that went into when the games are being played, but I got to tell you, I mean, it's a great opportunity for the number 1 team in the league in the regular season, the Winnipeg Jets, and in my opinion, the number 1 atmosphere in the Stanley Cup playoffs to put their best foot forward with all eyes on the peg tomorrow for the first game of the Stanley Cup tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. And Huss, I mean, Connor Hellebuyck said it in the past. The only trophy that matters to him is the silver one. And if he leads his team to the silver one, there's a pretty darn good chance he's going to win another trophy that's silver as he walks off the ice as well. So if folks are wanting to get their votes in or wanting to get their gambling in, they might want to go on that bet. I don't know what it's marking right now, but yeah, it's going to be fabulous, right? I mean, the beauty, Huss, of the scene is not only inside but out, right? So what we've done the last couple of years is it's fun to survey what's going on around the building, right? With all the different parties, going to be doing some radio, going to be doing some tee-ups. The atmosphere inside the building is awesome. People are going to be into it. It's going to be absolutely tremendous. And it's part of what makes it great, Huss. Whether you're going to games as a teenager or as an adult, part of the building, and electricity is sort of what makes Winnipeg and Manitoba what it is. Saw a couple of montages that were floating around yesterday, brings back a few fun memories. And I think it's just going to be fabulous. And I mean, this is, I wrote about Connor Hellebuyck, this being his time to shine after, again, no one's blaming Hellebuyck for the last 2 early exits. But Connor Hellebuyck's going to have to be the Jets' best player, especially with 2 guys out on the sidelines. It's not to say he has to carry the Jets, but he's going to have to be better than average and probably elite for them to go on a magic carpet ride here. So I expect the Jets to relish the atmosphere, Huss. A lot of that scar tissue was a big buzzword today, and it feels like they're a team that has learned from past mistakes, but ultimately you got to go out and show it, which is why I think this is going to be a tremendous series, and looking forward to covering every minute of it. And I look forward to seeing you at St. Louis. So I have faith in you to convince your peeps to get in the car, Huss.
I think I can do it too.
I'm going to put a little extra pressure on him now that we said it on the air here. So,
hey, how do you like this hat, by the way, that just came off ready for the whiteout?
Well, it looks good on you, Huss. Let's put it that way.
Check it out. Campbell is the Campbell Conference patch too.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, it's going to be fun. Looking forward to hearing where Hacksaw has Travis Hunter going, and should be a fun few days coming up too in terms of the draft stuff.
Obviously, Free Press is going to be the place to be. You make the entire team all over the series, on the ice, off the ice, in the city, in the province. Cannot wait for it. Have a great one, dude. Get some sleep tomorrow. Big day. Or get some sleep tonight. Big day tomorrow.
We'll do our best. It'll be a lot of fun. Take care and have a great weekend, everybody.
Good stuff. There's Kenny Wiebe. As I mentioned off the top, a lot of comments about both the hoodie, the all white, and this lid. It all dropped at Royal Sports yesterday. The limited edition hats. So if you're like one of the 400 people that liked or sent a message after I posted these yesterday, that is your whiteout headquarters. They've got great white pants as well. A bunch of different hoodies, t-shirts, jerseys, and these limited edition hats they did with New Era are going to be gone fast. I wouldn't be surprised if they're all done by tomorrow. So they're open today. So you can get down to Royal, give them a call to make sure. I'm not entirely sure what their hours are, but Royal Sports is ready for the whiteout, and they're ready for spring. Tons of bikes coming in by the day, soccer, baseball, softball, tennis, you name it. They are ready, but the focus is on the white section and all the new lids that just came in. Hey, Boston Pizza is going to be hopping tomorrow all across the province. Your whiteout headquarters. If you're not lucky enough to be in the building or at the street parties, the next best place to be is Boston Pizza. Checking out that great new playoff menu, including the wing pizza. I have to admit, I'm very intrigued about that one. Wing flights are back. I think I saw a triple pepperoni pizza that they've dropped out with 3 different kinds of pepperoni. I'm into it. But as we all know, big screens, big sound, big beers, delicious wings, gourmet pizzas. Boston Pizza is the place to be for all the road games, and if you're not lucky enough to be in the building. I know there's going to be plenty of little brown jugs enjoyed around the city tomorrow. Also at Craft Beer Corner inside Canada Life Center. As we get into the weekend, as Hacksaw calls it, Beer Friday, let's give a big cheers to our friends at Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
Also looking forward to having a couple of my favorite generic lagers from Little Brown Jug on the golf course this year. Breezy Bend planning on opening next week. I cannot wait. Speaking of Breezy Bend, let's do a quick check-in on the RBC Heritage and our Breezy Bend golf report today. Justin Thomas had that sizzling 61 yesterday, 10 under. He's just even today. But Siwoo Kim is pulling a JT from Thursday. Siwoo is 8 under through 13. Now click on this. What did he shoot on the front 9? 31, and then birdie to start the back. Siwoo's tied for the lead at 11 under. You got Andrew Novak at Russell Henley at 9. Canadian Mac Hughes, great round of 5 under today. He's T5 at 8 under, along with Scotty Scheffler, who's 1 under for his round play in the 10th, and Wyndham Clark, JT Poston, Colin Morikawa, Maverick McNeely, Keegan Bradley, all part of a group at 7 under. If you're thinking about a great long-term home for you and your family at Winnipeg's top private courses, the home of the 2025 Manitoba Open, check out breezybend.ca for more. And if you'd like to get on the waiting list for future membership, talk to our pal Corey Johnson at the clubhouse or through the website. All right, we will have marbles coming up. Remo, maybe if you want to start entering for the normal marble race. But don't forget, before that, we're going to do our 20 qualifiers in the marble race for the playoffs in the peg contest with Coolbet, where somebody's going to be winning tickets to Game 2. First up, though, let's bring in the Hacksaw. Lee Hacksaw Hamilton joins us now. Lee, are you ready to drop the puck on the Stanley Cup playoffs?
You look good there, my man, in all white. Of course, I'm representing down here in the States on your behalf.
Attaboy.
Listen, I've already projected it. I've already been alerted that Don Cherry has put me back on his Hockey Night in Canada Christmas card list. I'm projecting an all-Canada Stanley Cup final. Maple Leafs, Jets. How's that sound to you?
Oh, that would be civil war in this country, and it would be glorious. It would absolutely be glorious. Yeah, you know, it is going to be something special tomorrow. I guess 3 o'clock your time, 5 o'clock here. Will be puck drop, first game of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I can tell you this city and this fan base is ready to light that place up, and a great matchup between the Jets and the St. Louis Blues. So that's going to keep us busy, but I definitely wanted to have you on today, Lee, because we're coming into one of the most important weeks of the entire NFL calendar with the NFL draft, and this has been interesting. We've heard a lot about Cam Ward potentially being the number 1 pick, and it was always 2 quarterbacks. There's a ton of intrigue as to where Shedeur Sanders, son of Dion, the Colorado quarterback, ends up. There's been talk of him being as high as in the top 3, and there are other people projecting a big-time fall. Just your thoughts quickly on the quarterbacks going in round 1 for the NFL draft.
Hustler, they're going in opposite directions. Cam Ward has done everything every coach and every general manager has asked of him. He's worked out privately. He's done extra meetings. He's done the whiteboard, etc. He's really been cooperative. His stock has gone up. And again, he threw 162 touchdown passes in 5 years. And that includes playing for 3 different head coaches and coordinators at 3 different schools. But the kid seems to be all football all the time. He's gone in one direction. Shedeur Sanders, to me, is like a cement block thrown into the lake that's sinking to the bottom. And it's just not talent, it's attitude. And I think it's really worked against him. I don't understand why he's done this way. But his decision not to work out for certain teams, when he went to some of the meetings with the coaches, it was almost as if he was disinterested. There's kind of a rumor mill out there that the kid just seems to be entitled because he's Dion's son and expects to be treated differently. Well, it's not that way in the NFL once you leave the college campus. And he doesn't check off all the boxes to be an elite quarterback. There's real concern about the fact his decision-making is slow, that he's taken way too many sacks in college football, that he doesn't have a gun for an arm. He's more of a short yardage passing quarterback, which is okay. There's no doubt he's a really good athlete, but his stock has dropped. I've seen mock drafts from marquee people who do mock drafts, not guys in basements and garages. I've seen him go from anywhere from top 3 down to 9, maybe as far back as 21. I think the whole attitude thing has really worked against him. The other factor in the equation is a whole bunch of quarterbacks have rocketed into the second round and maybe at the back end of the first round because of their private workouts. Tyler Shuck, who's a one-man gang at Louisville, has really been impressive. A lot of people think he's kind of like a big Joe Flacco, standing in the pocket, cannon arm, etc., making things happen. Jackson Dart, Ole Miss, has gotten better and better, and he was a 3-year starter in college. He's pushed himself maybe to the back end of the first round. And the wild one is Jalen Milroe, who had a great sophomore season at Alabama under Nick Saban. Started really well his junior year and then fell apart at the end. Was highly erratic, but boy, he has gathered it all back together. His private workouts have been pretty impressive. He's probably going to go at the top of the second round. So the whole quarterback thing right now is Cam Ward, and then everybody else moving up the board, with the exception of the cement block, who seems to be dropping. I'm stunned that Shedur's conducted his business the way he has.
If Cam Ward goes off the board first, where do the Cleveland Browns go? And might it be Shedur's teammate, Travis Hunter?
Well, let me preface this statement with this fact. This is the most unique draft we have seen forever. You know, they put the draft in place in 1967, the way it's structured right now, Hustler. This is the first time in modern-day football since 1967 every team owns their number one pick. Nobody has traded their number one away. There's nobody walking around the street with multiple ones or three number ones. So that's fascinating. The other piece of the equation, it is a quarterback's league, but this is not a quarterback's draft. Outside of Cam Ward, everybody else could be taken a lot later. I went through projected drafts, or 5 mock drafts that I pay attention to, and I kind of scoped out what everybody thought. 18 defensive players going in the first round, 6 offensive linemen going in the first round. That's 24 to 32 picks are non-skilled guys. That's the most amazing thing I've seen in modern-day football in what's supposed to be a quarterback league. Right now, we will have the quarterback at the top, maybe a second quarterback later in the first round, 1 running back in the first round, maybe only 1 wide receiver in the first round, maybe a couple tight ends, and the rest of them are just going to be linemen and defensive players. So very, very unique and a very, very different draft.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It'll be an intriguing Thursday night when they get going with round number 1. What's going on behind the scenes with this tush-push ban proposal? I mean, we haven't really had clarity on that, or is that tabled for later?
It's under discussion between clubs and the competition committee as we talk. We're going to bring it back, and they're going to vote on it in May. I think they're wrestling with what they should do with all the plays, not just what happens at the goal line. They're also wrestling with the attitude that we can't punish Philadelphia, just that they're polished and know how to run the play. There is an inherent issue with injuries, and that scares a lot of people. When you got 900 pounds of guys falling on the defensive linemen at the bottom of the pile, they're worried about neck injuries, things of that nature. But the big argument is it's just not the goal line play. They're going to look at seriously throwing flags if anybody pushes a ball carrier at any portion of the field down the field. They're also going to look at video about a penalty flag if you grab your teammate while he's trying to go down the field and help propel him. So what they're going to say is, we're not going to allow the tush push, and we're not going to allow a pull anywhere, the line of scrimmage at the 1 or at the 50-yard line or 40-yard line after a ball is caught. So that's why this thing has been delayed. But we know when they talked about it initially, banning the tush push, Green Bay's proposal, 16 of the 32 teams said we want this ban for a wide variety of reasons. But the safety issue was one. But then Roger Goodell said, okay, let's just come back and take a full scope of pushing and pulling all parts of the field on all different plays, and let's outlaw the whole thing. And that's the way they'd rationalize the ban on the tush push. Philadelphia's upset. Other clubs think it needs to be changed from a safety factor and from a competitive factor. Does that make sense?
I understand that a lot of teams, I kind of think that Philly's just been so good at it. I mean, if there's a legitimate player safety reason to talk about it, which I believe is part of what has been proposed, then I guess I would hear it. But certainly sometimes, you know, if a team does something well, you got to figure out a way to stop it or do it. And obviously they've been so successful. And it's not like everybody else has been able to. They've tried it. It's a copycat league. They just haven't done as well. Hey, quickly on the way out, where are we at with the 18-game schedule?
It's still being discussed. The union says no. Roger Goodell says, from a business standpoint, this is good for the NFL. NFL historically has thrown dollar bills on the table, and the union changes their stance. This would be incorporated with 2 buys during the regular season, which are kind of gold for the players in terms of health. It would be incorporated with changes in the schedule. They would start Labor Day weekend earlier. It would mean cutting back another preseason game. They just cut it down to 2. There is a big part of this discussion also the elimination of OTAs. Now, coaches don't want that. You got to have time to take all your new players or your rookies, and you need OTAs to practice in the off season in May and June. But there's a sentiment about eliminating OTAs, and I just don't know how you evaluate all your good young players or guys coming off rehab injuries if you don't have OTAs to get them on the field. So that's a big issue. 18-game schedule's got a negative, though. You get players who undergo surgery at the end of the season, and there's a hell of a lot of them that do. They need rehab time, and you can't expect them to come back and be ready to play in July and August if they're not getting scope surgery or major reconstructive surgery till February and March. So it's going to be debated. It's going to be negotiated. It's probably a year from now before it'd be put in, but I think they're going to find a way to do it because it's all about dollars and it's all about economics and TV contracts.
Lee, with the NFL draft next week and the Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA playoffs going, that best 15 minutes might turn into a best half an hour. I'm sure you'll have enough to write about on the website at leehacksawhamilton.com, and loved the conversation that you guys had yesterday on your program about the Stanley Cup playoffs. That was a lot of fun. I actually popped into Royal Sports to pick this up, went upstairs into the office. I'm like, I recognize that voice.
You're kidding me.
And Greg had Hacksaw on after Winnipeg Sports Talk in the office. So I caught all that bit there after we had our O Canada Network come in. So anyways, have a great weekend. Enjoy the hockey tomorrow. And we'll catch up next week in the middle of the draft after the first round. It should be a real interesting conversation.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
For sure. And for all your viewers, when you're done with this guy wearing the Virgin white outfit today, when you're done, go to my YouTube channel, because yesterday on my Thursday show, we did a huge segment at the back end of my podcast. And I broke down all the hot teams, and we went extensive on hockey coverage and some great first-round matchups. You guys versus the Blues, Payback, the Kings versus the Oilers, and obviously the Battle of Ontario and the Sunshine State fist fights that are coming. First round, really going to be cool. And by the way, can I, since first game's not till tomorrow, can I place an order right now for 1919 and the triple pepperoni pizza, please?
Yes, let's do it. We'll have that delivered hot and ready to your door, Lee. Have a good one. Have a great weekend, and thanks as always.
Have a great sports weekend, and we'll talk to you again. Thanks, Hustler.
You bet. Hey, there's great sports weekends, and then there's this sports weekend with the Jets and the Blues going at it tomorrow to kick off the Stanley Cup playoffs. All right, great stuff from Hacksaw. We will get to the Coolbet lines right now. Last call for entry into the standard marble race because we got to bang out a couple. Looking to tomorrow in the NHL, there are two games. The first one kicks off the playoffs. It's right here in Winnipeg. The Jets minus 181 money line favorites. The Blues plus 152. The total for this 7. That's an insane number. The total for this game really is about 5.5. And the under is still minus 147. So I think we do expect some tight, low-scoring games between these clubs and a lot of solid goaltending. The Avalanche are minus 133 favorites on the road in Dallas in Game 1 of that series. And just to quickly check on Jets St. Louis, this number hasn't moved all week. Jets started off a big favorite, minus 238 to win the series, Blues plus 190, and that is where we are at. One bet I did like is Jets to win Game 1 and win the series. That's minus 115. I will be getting on that. And then, if you do like, for instance, Jets in 6 or less, you can jump on the Jets at minus 1.5 at minus 110. But it's all there. Goal props for the series. Cole Perfetti over 1.5 plus 150. Kyle Connor over 2.5 is minus 125. And Mark Scheifele over 2.5 is plus 105. Josh Morrissey minus 159 to score a goal in the series. And the point numbers on the Jets. Connor, even money for 7 or more points. Scheifele plus 110 for 7 or more. Morrissey plus 110 on 5 or more. And Cole Perfetti over 2.5, minus 125. It's all there at Coolbet for you. One other thing I'll quickly get to. And again, we don't have a lot of time. We got to get to these marble races, but it is WrestleMania weekend, folks. And the odds are up. And we won't go through all of the matches, but I have been paying close attention to a little bit of line movement. And El Grande Americano is now the favorite against Rey Mysterio. Chad Gable with the mask, minus 130. Rey, minus 105. And if you're looking for an upset on the board, Drew McIntyre is a minus 1,000 favorite over Damian Priest in this Sin City street fight. I heard David Shoemaker today on the Ring of Wrestling show make a very interesting case that it makes way more sense for Damian Priest to actually win and potentially have these guys run it back at Backlash. I don't mind, and I just got on Damian Priest at 5-1, plus 500 in that one. If you're wondering about the big matchup between Cody Rhodes and John Cena, Cena's the minus 250 favorite, Cody Rhodes plus 170. The Gunter Jey Uso one is heavily weighted, believing Jey Uso's going to win, minus 714. The women's championship is close. Now, this was a pick'em earlier in the week. Tiffany Stratton, will it be Tiffy time? Minus 152 over Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's Championship. And maybe the most interesting one is the triple threat match. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. Rollins a slight favorite, minus 110. Punk plus 105. And Roman Reigns plus 250. So if you're a wrestling fan, geek for WrestleMania, there's all sorts of specials and more under the WrestleMania tab over at Coolbet. If you haven't played there before, use the promo code WST for a 100% bonus up to $200 on your first deposit. And if you are a Coolbetter, do not forget to go to our social feeds at Sports Talk WPG on X and on Instagram, and make sure to add, when you're responding to the post, put in your Coolbet handle, and you'll get an extra spot in the draw to be a finalist for the marble race that will determine who is going to the next playoff game that we do it for. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. A nice little transition, because we've got two marble races to go to. Now, it's last call for the main one, which we will do in a moment. But first up, we're going to go back to the Remis, what was the course we did yesterday again? The Dylan's Champions.
I wrote it down. Champions Fire Project.
It was such a great track for a 20 marble race where the stakes are so high. So we're going back there for the Coolbet race right now. And this is for game 2 for the playoffs in the peg contest. Here are the 20 marbles in the race from people that qualified and entered on our social media channels. From Instagram, we've got Alexander_Phillips. We've got Donald Globush. We've got Jillian Leninga. Fat Cat 12466. Kiston Leah. Brad Newchuk. Chris Razos. Martins Dustin. Texan Kegs. Hockey Mom 11117, and Michael Klassen 7.716. From X, we have Rax Nahali, Andrew Everett 9, JSMG Monty 269, Hailster 16, Frosty Winnipeg, and QOTR Movie, as well as Son of Dirk, Thomas J. Horn, and The Real I Heart. So let's do this race, Remo, and then we'll play the special theme for our main race, as we always do. And again, last call for the main race. Remus is going to get that one ready, names-wise, while we do the first one. Back to the champions. What was it called again?
God, I got these written down. I can't remember them. Champions Fire Project.
The Champions Fire Project. Unbelievable race yesterday. Congratulations again to our winner, Christian Gottfried. Paterson, who was very fired up to be the winner. They are geeked. And now whoever wins this race is going to be in the house for game 2, courtesy of Winnipeg Sports Talk and our friends over at Coolbet. Shout out to Pat, Jake, Ange for their great support of WST and fans in the Winnipeg market. And of course, they've got some great numbers on that Jets series if you want to get in on it before the puck drops at 5 p.m.
Yes,
and I do roll.
Yeah. Also note, I have it in the pinned comment all show. If you want tickets to Game 2 Street Party, winnipegsportstalk.com/contest. That is open. And I also, people asking about a bracket manager, link in the description, and there is an office pool, box pool link in the description as well. I made one of those.
Box pool as well. I'm going to have to do one of those.
Yeah, I got to fill that out. I'm torn up. Like, I haven't done the bracket. Like, do I have to pick the, like, are people going to get mad if I don't have the Jets winning the cup?
Well,
Will I be able to show up on the show? Will I be able to show up on the show?
Ignoring all of the evidence. No,
I don't want to be the villain on the, like, you saw Ken, like, won't reveal his ballot, and people are like, don't invite him back, kick him off the show. We got a super chat.
It was a bit of a heel turn, but listen, Ken is a man that plays by the rules. He always has. And as we just clarified, there are guidelines for voters. At some point, we'll know who he voted for. I am very confident Connor Hellebuyck will be the guy. I can't imagine anybody from this market going anywhere else, but we'll find out in due time. And in the meantime, it's time to go into the playoffs.
Yeah, and then here we do a couple super chats. Shout out to Michael Stetsky, says, go Jets, go, let's get it, whiteout.
Thanks, Stetsky.
And T. Conapoli says, Ken's answer was like a politician who danced around the real question. Nobody's asking who he's winning. Us is asking, well, I can't read the rest. It's in all caps. Whose vote is simple, Helly or blank. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, as I said, he clarified that, T-Kona. He can't say right now. In due time, we will find out.
They do reveal all of them. I think there's a lot more transparency about who votes, and we'll be able to shame whoever after the show. Like, just like how Matt Larkin.
The one guy that doesn't vote Hellebuyck for Vezina.
Yeah, which guy is it going to be?
I saw they did a poll, like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 poll, and Hellebuyck had 79, which meant that one person didn't have him first this year, and it was lock in Vezina.
On ESPN last night, Mark Messier had Hellebuyck for his Vezina choice. I don't know if he's got a real vote.
What about Hart?
Sorry, for Hart. I'm getting the mix up. For Hart. For Hart, he had Hellebuyck.
Yeah.
John Buccigross had, I think he might have had Trice. I forget who he had. That was on the ESPN broadcast. So we'll see.
Shout out to Mess for having a great take when it comes to Hellebuyck. All right, let's do this. Let's do this race here and see who is going to game 2.
Yeah, and stick around after. We got this Connor and Liss X Factor video.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we should probably. I mean, it's going to take like in about 15 minutes when we're done. We will be just continuing the content and X Factor, Connor and Liss. Of course, Sunday morning live, 9 a.m. on Sunday. WST with Connor, Liss, and Jacob will be amazing. Full recap of game 1, getting ready for game 2, and then Monday we'll be back at it with a game day edition before that 6:30 game in game number 2. Don't forget, the game tomorrow is at 5 o'clock. Don't be a moron like me and mix up the game time for Pro. Oh, and hey, shout out to Rod Z. Rod Z, a lock shop legend, supporting the channel and gifting 5 WST memberships. And Spency 5 Centsy, another ESTer, getting one. Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate the support. Rod Z, one of the masters of stats when we're putting bets together in the lock shop. Appreciate that. All right. 20 of you have been drawn from all of the entries. The winner of this race is going to game 2. Good luck to everyone. Thanks to Coolbet for making this possible. Make sure to go to the socials and get in for game 5, potentially game 7 tickets. We've got the entire first round, so make that happen. But for the 20 of you that are in it, we're dropping them now. Good luck. Let's see who's putting the whites on for Monday night. Great start on this track. I still can't get over poor Alec Paulo, who looked like he was home and clear yesterday, and then just fell off during that corkscrew, sort of like the roller coaster. These spiral stairs on both sides coming down. Who's going first? Hockey Mom 17-17's in good shape. We've got Martin's Dustin, who's looking pretty good. Just going to get down into this. And, coming through here quickly is going to be key. Will we have Martin's Dustin's in the mix? Martin's Dustin had a great transition there, but now we've got caught up a little bit. And it looks like Thomas J. Horn is right now in the mix. I see Hockey Mom right behind. And Michael Klassen in the mix as well. A couple of the other marbles now catching up. But Alexander and Thomas J. Horn, Hockey Mom, all right there together. This is going to be a thriller. Still no marbles out. We lost, I think, 2 or 3 yesterday. Ended up being top rope. Nobody yet so far. Hockey Mom, Thomas J. Horn, and Martin's Dustin. Right now, all in a dead heat. Rax Nahali's in the mix now. Oh, Andrew Levitt, I believe is the name. Andrew just fell off the course. Very unfortunate. All right, this was where Alec got whacked yesterday. But it didn't happen to Martin's Dustin. It looks like he is in first and is going to get into the funnel. Then we're going to go into this orb. And really, it's going to end up being who can get out of it first. Martin's Dustin has the lead. Thomas J. Horn and Rax Nahali are right on in his rear. And it looks like they're all going to be going in very quickly. Who will come out of the spinning orb first and get into the hopper for the win? We've got 4 marbles now in the hopper. In the orb. Frosty Winnipeg just got top roped. Sorry about that, Frosty. Unfortunate. Who is it? Thomas J. Horn looks like he's out of the orb into the hopper. And our winner today in the WST Coolbet Playoffs in the peg contest is Thomas J. Horn. Heck of a race today, everybody. Rax Nahali coming in second. I believe not. Actually, no, not yet. What was the...
Yeah, you got to go down and hit the pegs. There's like a Plinko board on top of the finish.
That's right. Son of Dirk waiting to go in. We've got our top 10. But Thomas J. Horn, congratulations. We will hit you on X, congratulating you. And we're going to need to get an email from you to send those tickets. I see Haster coming in right now. There could be some marbles that get burnt here. And there we go. Number of people didn't finish, but Thomas J. Horn, 18. I believe he's a very loyal DK player in the WST League, if I'm not mistaken, Reem.
That's correct. Jason's always in there. See him in chat. So he is watching. Nice to have a loyal viewer get in on this one.
Oh, nice. Is he here right now?
Yeah, he's under Jason Jet, but his Twitter name is Thomas J. Horn.
Oh, Jason Jet, right on. Well, hey, congratulations. That is awesome. So there you have it. Thomas J. Horn, Jason Jet in the chat. Get ready for game 2, buddy. We'll hook you up. All right. Now that order of business is completed, we've got the Big Daddy today. And I'm actually quite excited. I have not heard this, but rumors abound that we, in fact, have a special marble race theme for today's race. Put together by the one and only Tristan Rivers Music, and I believe the lovely Candace Jane helping out with the visuals for this. So before we get everyone in for the weekly Friday marble race, do you have this theme ready, Reem?
Yeah, it's ready. Oh my God, I'm trying to close the spreadsheet so I can get the new one out. But yeah, it's ready to go. Perfect. If anyone saw what was happening behind the scenes today. Actually, what's happening in my office like all week, like a lot of late nights, but it's fun. It's playoffs. No days off.
Yeah, no, listen, it's been fun to do a show today. I mean, we still have over 500 people live. By the way, hit that thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. You got to be subscribed to the channel to win the WST hoodie for the winning the marble race. But anyways, without further ado, let's get ready for the weekly WST race. Tristan Rivers music with a new banger for you before we drop marbles. I love the cameo of Remis's infamous headshot photo, the special photo shoot that Remis had back in his modeling days, throwing out on it. Tristan, Candace, you're the best. Mm-hmm. Thank you. There it is.
I'm wearing a teal WST jacket there, and I think if you want to buy a pencil-drawn version of that picture, there's one out there for big dollars. So please inquire if you want the pencil drawing that one. I think it's available.
That is true.
Big dollar. It's a big price tag.
Haven't had any bites on that for the last couple of years, but it is
big price
available.
Tag. If you want it, big price tag, not cheap. So contact us.
Yeah, Alex from the Peg, Remo with the Riz face, exactly.
What is it like this?
There was a lot of Riz. He had that club in his bag and pulled it out a lot back in the day. Now,
what is it?
The best part of today was, as I mentioned in the tweet right before we went live, the negotiation with one lovely 2-year-old daughter in the office as we tried to start the show today. That would have been hilarious if we started the stream earlier and just were able to listen to that. But we got to the finish line. Couple things while Remis gets this ready. Right after the show, Connor and Liz, playoff X Factors. That don't go anywhere. We're going to rate ourselves. Make sure to check that out. Tomorrow morning, again, no days off in the playoffs, folks. Tomorrow morning, wake up with a legal curve, as I'm sure you all do every Saturday morning. And right after IC, I will be sitting down with Frankie Corrado for a playoff preview for the Stanley Cup Playoffs. We'll focus in on his thoughts on the Jets Blues, but we'll get his analysis on all 8 of the first-round matchups and see who Frankie sees going all the way in both the East and the West to the Stanley Cup Final. So I see tomorrow, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., our playoff preview with Frank Corrado. And then Sunday morning, after the game, don't stay out too late. Celebrating, hopefully, a big Jet win. And get up with Connor, listen, Jacob. WST Sunday Live tomorrow, 9 a.m. And then we're back at it on Monday before Game 2 with our regular edition of WST. All right, where are we going today, Reem?
Okay, I tested this one before. It seemed pretty good. Champions of the Steve. I don't think it's related. I thought maybe it was related to Temple of Steve, but
yeah,
it doesn't. I don't think it has that kind of ending.
Beautiful. Did you put me in?
Yeah, I put you, Pionk, and Alex Iafallo in.
Oh, nice. Okay, yes. We had to give Pionk and Iafallo for their new contracts. Congratulations again to them. All right, everybody. Got more than 200 marbles in. The most fun part of the entire week, winner will get a WST hoodie exclusive. You can only get it through winning the marble race. We're in Champions of the Steves. Here we go. Good luck to all of you before we dive into the playoffs tomorrow, live at Canada Life Centre and on the streets of Winnipeg and around the province, cheering on the Jets. Good luck. Let's drop the marbles on a Friday afternoon on Winnipeg Sports Talk. And shout out to everyone that joined us live today on Good Friday. Probably a few people thought that we would probably be taking the day off, but would have loved to have taken the day off, but we would have been doing a disservice to our loyal listeners and viewers and Jet fans in general that can't get enough of chatter about the squad as they get ready for the St. Louis Blues tomorrow. So a very fun show. Thanks to JP and Ken and Hacksaw for joining us today on a day off for most people, and particular welcome to people that don't normally get to watch live on YouTube. There are so many marbles. I'm having a hard time seeing who's in first right now.
I can't see what's happening.
We'll find out when they come around. All right, here we go. C. Jury is in first. I think the Rat River Rebel is in there. But again, we'll find out who is in first once we get in and around these two big spinning orbs and who gets out first. But I do like this track, Remis, because you can basically see the millions of marbles where everybody is. But now, okay, we finally got the first few coming into it. I think Owen Landry is the first out, and Owen Landry on the far side is first out. T. Will and Alex Iafallo. T. Will and Alex Iafallo are going at it on the bottom side. Owen Landry seemingly first place right now on the side. AI, T. Will, Owen Landry. Who's right behind Owen Landry, Remo, up there on the top?
Yeah, sorry. That's Owen Loney, and he's there.
No,
David
Loney.
Dessler. Oh, it's raining marbles here.
Okay, now there's a few people. Oh, did Formerly? No, Formerly. I thought Formerly caught a break. Russ Lowen just got smoked. I see Northside Sandwich in the mix. But there's Owen Loney coming out first, along with Northside Sandwich. Alex Iafallo right behind, along with David. Whoa, Owen Loney just got bounced the other way. Krugs. Northside Sandwich looking to be the first ever EST winner. But here comes AI, Alex Iafallo. Here comes Krugs. Oh, they got pop that. Who's it? Sojix.
Sajin.
Or Sajin. Okay, Rob Wright. Meredith Harley also in the mix. But here's Farmer Brain. Could Farmer Brain be the first? Farmer Brain is our winner today. That's a second winner before for Farmer Brain. Farmer Brain has won in the past, so that's a two-time champion. Joining the likes of Marble Race legends, Amanda, Red River Ranger, Schickster, as multiple champions. You know, we saw Rory McIlroy complete the Grand Slam in the Masters on the weekend. What a moment for Farmer Brain. Doing it again. Your top 10, Farmer Brain, Krugs, Meredith Harley, David Dressler, Misspell, and then how about that? Alex Iafallo, AI, new contract. He got the new contract bump in the race today. My buddy Todd Fertani. What up, Fertani? Nice work. He's got bragging rights at the bar this week, that's for sure. Ron P was 8th. Didn't even get through the top 10. All right, let's see what we've got here. What time did you schedule the thing for?
3:30. So we got a couple minutes.
We got a couple minutes here. So 8th place was Ron P. Kodiak's fan 9th. Wilf's World 10th. Let's continue on. I see there's John M, KDD, Pesky Nesty. I like that one. Frosty Winnipeg in the top 20. There's Georgie Porgy, Pat Rathwell, Tyson Ducharme. Ducharme, get off your ass and make it past Lajimodia and get downtown for some of these games. We miss you upstairs in 316 and in the bar. It was nice to see Wayne Gretzky. There's Tristan Rivers' music. Gretzky and our pal Slick McGuire from the UK in for the playoffs. I think he's going to be up in, 313 tomorrow with, there's Amanda. Nice work. Top 100. Not bad. There's Eagle Eyes. I think he's going to be up in the upper bowl with Nick Lyman from Top Line tomorrow. Great to see everyone with such good hospitality, especially Spency, who is taking good care. There's Bozeman at 147. Ooh, I don't think I finished today. I think I was one of the marbles. Oh, I was. I took the L. Boozer, good one for you. There's everyone else that did not make it. Did not make it to the finish line today. Great stuff as always. Anyways, Farmer Brain, you can fire us an email and we can arrange. You know where to come pick it up. You've done it before. Nicely done. Yes, and Rat River Rebel, you did go from second to 153. You got hooked up. Rod Z, happy Easter. Thanks for popping out. Spency 5 Centsy was right there. We're still waiting, I think, for the first ever Edmonton winner of the marble race. All right, so Remo, we've got this Connor and Liz piece coming up with the X Factors for the series, so that's going to start literally in 3 minutes. You know what? The one thing that we haven't done is make predictions for this series yet. Do you have a first-round prediction for the Jets and the St. Louis Blues, which begins tomorrow at 5?
Oh, man. I'll say Jets in 6. I think it's going to be tougher than you think. Maybe it'll be like that series versus the Wild in 2018. That one went 5.
That one went 5. That's where I'm at on this one.
Yeah.
Now, it's incumbent on the Jets to get off to a great start, but I love them tomorrow in game number 1. Be very important to build off that in game 2 if they can get that win. And then ideally, get one on the road and then come back to the whiteout with the chance to clinch. Like I said, that's an optimistic view on it. But listen, the Jets have beaten St. Louis 12 of the last 14 times that they played. I know there's no Nikolai Ehlers and Gabe Vilardi. That is significant, but I'm looking forward to a bunch of guys stepping up. And at the end of the day, the Winnipeg Jets have Connor Hellebuyck and nobody else in the NHL does. And there is no one that is more motivated to make a huge impact and help his team win games going into the playoffs than that guy. He's won everything else. Now it's time to win not one round, but many more. And as he said when he won the jacket after Game 82, boys, let's get ready for a long couple months in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And that is exactly what we are going to be doing. Folks, stay on top of all of our social channels. Our Instagram in particular, our Twitter, our X, it's at Sports Talk WPG, Facebook as well, TikTok. We're going to be down. I know Liz is going to be doing some fun stuff alongside the fans. I'll probably get in the mix on that before the game as well. I'll have some stuff from the stands. Connor and Remo will be doing their thing up in the press box. And then Michael and Connor will have post-game coverage on YouTube. I don't think we'll roll it live to conflict with our pals at IC and Kenny and Rennie. But after that, once K and R are done later on, check the YouTube. This is a perfect reason to turn your notifications on so you'll get a little alert when it's there. Make sure to check it out. Drop a comment and let the boys know how you're feeling after game number 1. Remo, I guess it's 3:30. We can rate ourselves right now?
Yeah, we got to go. We got to end this, so you
Perfect.
Send him home.
Have a great long weekend, everybody. As I said to Ken, get a good rest tonight because tomorrow it is go time and it is showtime for Winnipeg Jet fans and for the Winnipeg Jets against the St. Louis Blues. Connor Rabchak, Liz Hood with playoff series X Factors next. And tomorrow, 11 a.m., right after IC, playoff preview with Frankie Corrado. 9 a.m. Sunday, WST Sunday Live. Get the whites ready for tomorrow. hopefully we'll see you downtown. And if not, we will definitely see you Monday as we get ready for Game 2 on our regular edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily right here on WST. Go Jets, go.
Oh my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.